Okay, we're here. I don't completely stop yet. I need to get this started. Need to get going. I have not normally been streaming at this time lately, as normally I would be working on my normal work, programming. But I wasn't getting anything done today. I was just screaming at Discord, basically. the typing equivalent of screaming at Discord. Not Discord the app, Discord the users. I am just riled up. I am heated. We're gonna get real political today. This stream is gonna be a political animal. I mean, we'll still talk about Warhammer if it comes out, but like, oh yeah, I gotta reset the chat. Yeah, I forgot to get our guys spinning while I'm getting a dose of gamer subs. But yeah, alright. Oh boy. We're gonna talk about all of the big topics today because there's been a lot going on. I know I have not been streaming, and if you're watching this VOD later on YouTube, this is Tuesday, October 10th, I believe. Yes, and I have not streamed since last Thursday. And during those times that I was having like a mini crash of just like energy from just like work, basically. Well, everything lit on fire. oh, this sick my mind. Every time I first make it, it tastes amazing, but like it hits you, it punches you right in the throat when you gotta try to drink it the first time. Okay. So yeah. Israel's on fire, so that's cool. That's a new thing. Where is Sai? Sai's supposed to be joining. This was somewhat inspired because Sai's like, hey, you streaming today? I got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm like, I am not even like getting work done. I'm just talking. So let's just go. Let's just do this. With painting stuff. Oh, jeez, it's gonna be like 10 minutes before Sai gets in here. All right. Anyway. For painting stuff, ironically, it was already the thing that we were going to be actually a bunch of experimentation, a bunch of new stuff for me. My hot glue gun finally came in, and we're gonna make like guts and gore and all kinds of horrific things, just ironically rather topical in like the worst way possible. That was not on purpose. It just kind of happened that way. First, I'm gonna throw a bunch of transfers on these. Then we'll get to all the crazy stuff as we'll be making their bases, and the cultists they've recently torn apart limb from limb. Literally. Actually I'll leave the bases in there for us. So, okay. I am all heated up because I was in a conversation with somebody. It started with someone. I don't even remember if it was the original, if it was the guy that I'm talking to about this, but someone in an international politics thread put something about America being over expansionist, and I'm like, America expand. I'm tired of the American expansionist crap. This is what I said. I'm tired of the American expansionist crap because the reality is, if America was operating for expansion like the old empires, by those rules, we'd have most of the world under just the US flag. Like there wouldn't be other countries. there would be like the Asiatic bloc of Russia and China, and everyone else would be the US. We are shockingly nice, as for the most part, we just ask other countries to more or less act like adults and allow us to do our trade without getting messed with. That's most of it. That's like the grand majority of it. That's all we ask. But nah, everyone's like American imperialism, which a guy even posted like the Wikipedia article where the second sentence literally says, depending on the commentator. So it's even the Wikipedia article says right there at the beginning, it's just narrative. Imperialism is whatever you want to be, whatever you don't like. The reality is, the world, and especially the West, functions because of the US. Because the oil, all the oil that comes out of the Middle East, which is most of it, right, gets to everywhere else securely and safely, and ensuring that those prices stay relatively stable most of the time, because the US Navy is securing the trade routes. If that just went away, oh man, even just the US Navy just backing out of there and allowing not only like the pirates, because immediately north of Somalia, the naval piracy capital of the world right now, by my understanding, but any other country would be able to try to come in and do whatever they want, a la Operation Praying Mantis in the 80s, where, if memory serves, Iran, I believe it was Iran, was it was the Iran-Iraq War, and I'm pretty sure this was Iran. It might have been Iraq. I don't super remember. One of the two. The point is, one of the two was like, we're gonna start messing with the other countries' naval freighters through oil, and it's like, oh, okay, I mean, fair enough. But then that other country's, like, their opposition's backer was Kuwait, and then they started messing with Kuwait's shipments. Which Kuwait, not being a part of OPEC, means that their pricing was always considerably cheaper and helped to maintain OPEC's pricing to remain within reason, because they had to deal with competition. So when Kuwait's tankers started getting messed with, well, now the US is going to get involved, because now gas prices have been messed with. And this is exactly what the US continues to do. If you mess with the Persian Gulf's oil transport, that's going to affect gas prices over here in the US, which means the US Navy is going to get involved. That led to, yes, I believe it was Iran. It was Iran doing this, and we took out over half of Iran's Navy in under 8 hours. And yes, this was a whole video by the Fat Electrician, that you can find other people talking about it. This is what this is probably the single biggest thing the US provides to the world, is ensuring that no one is allowed to mess with the oil. And while yes, the US does not get all of its oil from the Middle East, it gets a lot of it. And a lot of the West gets their oil, and plenty of the East also gets their oil from the Middle East. Meaning that if that goes away, Western civilization as we understand it right now just simply disappears. There's no the West anymore. Now, if you're American, you might be wondering, well, how much of my tax dollars are going towards this plan? Let me enlighten you. In 2022, based on the federal spending numbers, not the budget, as someone tried to point out, the budget being very different, and being much larger of a number, and I'm like, well, budget and spending are not the same thing. You can budget for X, so that doesn't mean that's what you're spending. Also, yes, I am aware my camera's not doing a good job of picking up these transfer sheets, but we're getting there. Those are two different numbers. So the actual spending, the actual dollars utilized for defense was 12%. That's all we spent on the federal budget. which for comparison, or not that we spent on the military budget that we spent on defense, period. In comparison, well, I've got it around here somewhere. There you are, Sai. I may. What's up? Oh, and I think you have audio now. Try saying something? Oh wait, no, you don't. Why is that not coming through? Hold on. You do not have audio. People cannot hear you yet. Hold on.
I got the truck. I was like, hey, you truck?
Now they hear you.
So I ended up getting. Okay, cool.
Okay. I was just going off on about our military spending.
I don't really know much about that.
I can do all the education. I'm like so like I got all the like I'm pulling the stuff back up. I've been going off on this on Discord for like 2 hours.
On like the war stuff going on right now is like extremely. What's the word when it's like not an opinion, but like just like not looking at opinions, just looking at facts. What's the term for that again? Extremely like unbiased.
Oh, I mean, sure.
Kind of. It's like I don't ever listen to any news stations ever. I never read articles on this stuff. I just watch the video outright and judge for myself is what I'm saying, you know? So it's like my view on the whole Israeli-Palestine.
Oh, I haven't even gotten to Israel yet. We'll get there, but I haven't even gotten to Israel. I just realized also my chat was not fully set up.
Stuff,
but
like war spending, I don't really know anything about.
Well, first I was going over. Okay, so here's what initially got me riled up. I'll just start at the beginning. That's fine, and then everyone's caught up. Okay, so I was in this huge political server that I normally spend quite a bit of time. I've actually become a mod there as of recently. I decided that me having a band hammer was a good idea. Okay, so
the server has half its population in an hour.
Yeah. Actually, I've only banned 2 people. And actually, one of them was yesterday before I even fully got out of bed because he was just straight up being. Okay, so we have like a couple topics we just refuse to bring up because the conversations around those topics are just never worthwhile. They always turn into just like stupid, racist, pseudoscientific nonsense. And one was the Jewish question. This guy brought up once, but like in a pretty calm manner. I'm like, okay, listen. I personally can be okay with like talking about like almost anything, as long as the conversation remains like reasonable. As long as no one's like screaming at each other or like whatever. Like you're actually trying to get to the core of the truth, right? Whatever. However, the server has already decided that the Jewish question is not on the table. So just don't do it. Just don't broach the topic again because that's just our stance. Just this guy
follow the most common sense rule. Just simply follow the basic rules.
Right, and it's listed. Rule 10. Here's the list of topics we don't broach. We just don't care.
If they do it once, tell them not to. If they keep doing it, it's like, well.
Oh yeah, no,
you're not following the most basic rules. So like, out of principle, I don't want you here anymore.
Yeah, he kept going, and when I told him, and when I explained why not, also Sup Diablo, I see your thing, it's just not coming up on my chat thing. I gotta restart the pop out. Give me a second. My day is, I'm feeling good because I like it when I'm riled up. I like being high energy and like losing my mind. The more high energy I feel, the better I like existing.
I'm still kind of like half hungover on sleeping medication from last night.
Gross. Okay.
I only woke up like 40 minutes ago.
So then this guy started losing it. Just saying I was a libtard, I was censoring him, the whole server's full of libtards, started DMing me, just slurs. I'm like, get out of here, ban. Because another neo-Nazi in the making, I guess, I don't know. Pretty sure the other guy I banned, which was like last week, was also a neo-Nazi type. Oh yeah, you know he was. I remember the conversation now. Yeah, he tried to be real sneaky with it, but I caught him like in the logic of it. You just follow the logic too. It's like obvious end conclusion, and it's like, yeah, no, it's calling for someone's genocide somewhere down the line. So like, nah, like I do this way too much for that to slip by me. I don't remember the exact words, but it was something about like genetics and like ethnicities and like whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, it was by you should care about your ethnicity because it's about respecting where your ancestors came from or something like that. And I'm like, listen, I am English, French Canadian, Polish, Russian Jew, Native American. Like, who am I respecting? Because like, where do I begin?
At that point, you just call yourself an American. 'Cause that's what like most of us are made up of. Just like a clusterfuck of random shit.
Yeah, and I also said that it's like, what's
what an
America?
American
We're a hodgepodge of nonsense.
Yeah, it's like if you're just an absolute clusterfuck, then I guess genetically you should be called an American.
Yeah, right. But it's like, yeah, so like,
everything's like 1, 2, 3, 5%.
right. So like he said like something else, and I'm like, if you follow this to its end goal, someone's getting genocided. So like, how about we not? And then I don't remember what followed after, but it ended with me banning him. So like, whatever. Okay,
I'm,
so
like half English, half Persian.
that's a
So
combination.
on the stat thing, I'm not English. Yeah, so I got like the English sort of build where it's like I prefer the cold weather over the hot weather. I got my teeth want to try to be fucked up all the time, so I'm constantly fighting it. Like, but I also have like this super curly like Arabic hair. Like,
Oh, fair. Oh yeah, that's
brother,
right. Yeah,
my
actually, yeah.
brother, when he was in the Marines, they referred to him as Jihad because he looked like a fucking terrorist.
I have not watched the opening scene of the newsroom, Diablo, but I have been recommended it a number of times. Actually, wait, did I watch the newsroom? I think that was one of those shows where my ex watched it and I like half watched on occasion. I don't really remember. Anyway,
Dude, my best
so
combination of the English and Persian is this dish my grandmother makes, which is where the English Persian thing started. It was like my grandmother, my grandfather were full English, full Persian, and they make this. My grandma makes this dish, which is like a combination of English food and Persian food. That's like rice tardig, but without the potatoes on the bottom, just like searing the rice at the bottom. With English pork cutlets and then
Ooh.
Persian cucumber yogurt.
Interesting.
And it's like rice, a couple of pork cutlets on top of the rice, and then a little like a quarter cup of the yogurt on top. Oh my god, it's literally my favorite like homemade dish ever.
Nice. So today, here's what started everything. Was oh yeah, so it was originally started with talking about the American carrier group on its way to the Israel and stuff, which their primary goal with that, I mean, it was first sent when we heard that they were American hostages, which like makes sense. Go for it, do it. I remember yesterday someone was
supposed to just be like a show of support for Israel. Like, just
so
come by and
that's
show support.
that's the main thing they're there for now, is because Hezbollah said that they might start directly supporting Hamas from Lebanon, and the U.S. is like, nah, you're not.
It's Hezbollah. Hezbollah is the Russian guy who has the disease where he looks like he's a little kid still, but he's actually like 20 or something.
Okay.
It's Hezbollah.
Anyway.
It's Hezbollah. It's like it's a different way of
Hezbollah?
pronouncing it.
Oh,
Yeah, Hezbollah is that little funny guy.
I see.
I need to look up the wording of it now because I just confused my own brain. I know it's pronounced slightly differently. 'Cause I know because I got corrected for the exact same thing.
I see. So, Hezbollah. I don't know if I was closer or farther that time. Anyway, okay. Anyway, moving on. So that was not even the main part of the conversation. That was just the thing that
know.
provoked somebody's statement about someone saying something about America being quote over expansionist, And I'm like, okay, you know what? After some research I've done recently, I am done with people claiming we're over expansionist. If by historical standards, if we worked like old empires, the U.S. could just decide that most of the world is now flying only the American flag. All your countries are us now. Okay, we could do that, and because the single biggest thing that we offer the global economy right now, or global market, or all the other countries really, is that the U.S. Navy secures the naval trade lanes, particularly the oil coming out of the Middle East to everywhere else, and it ensures that it's not being messed with by the pirates from Somalia directly south of the Red Sea and the whole Persian Gulf, which is the naval piracy capital of the world, and that no other countries can mess with the oil trade lanes, so oil prices remain stable and actually getting where they need to go. Which, if that went away, Western civilization would just collapse, or it would just fall to like a vastly reduced state of ability, because while the U.S. only gets like 40% of its oil from the Middle East, everywhere else gets almost all their oil from the Middle East. So it's like, it would hurt us like just as bad, because not only is it hurting us because 40% of our oil is gone, which would massively jack up oil prices, but also all of our international trading would fall apart, because like everyone else is now like back to mud huts. Like, just straight up, like, overnight. So, like, we control that tap. On top of us, like, actually having a military capability of walking into almost any country on the planet saying this is ours now, if we wanted to do that.
Right.
So, Venom, been here since your start. Just got out of the boom on the truck and hashtag just listening. It's all good, man. Oh, fair enough, Diablo.
You know, maybe it's harder to just walk in on a place and say this is ours now than we think it is. Like, I think that's just not very doable nowadays. Like, I think
no, it is.
Tried. I don't think we'd really manage it easily at all.
Well,
because like, I mean, look at Russia, Ukraine. It's like, by all measurements, Russia should have just like swept their asses in a matter.
Yeah, but Russia's military was vastly.
You know,
that's because Russia's military capability was vastly overrated for decades. Oh no, it's not about the why. Although I can go into the why. I've done. It's okay. So here's the thing about the U.S. doing it.
Times we tried that, it didn't work.
well, no, but here's the difference. We weren't trying to say like Iraq is ours now. We were trying to set up a democratic government within Iraq for the Iraqis to run themselves, and they were incapable of doing it. Along the rules that we would do anyway. Like, they don't have the same cultural priorities, so the people were not prioritizing operating like we would. Well, if we were to just say we're running this now, this is ours, that'd be different on a number of levels, partially because here's the difference between us and the Ukraine-Russia war as far as like military capability being utilized. Okay, while Ukraine is using
military capability,
well, no, actually they're not. They're using our equipment, but they are not using our experience, our supply lines, our air support. Here's the thing: when we do air support, we don't do air support. We don't do air superiority. We do air domination. Exactly. Everyone in the sky is gone because they never get off the ground in the first place. And then, okay, so this happened in Syria. I don't remember the year. I think it was 2017, 2018. This happened in Syria. About 1,200 of Wagner coming over from the Russian side tried to attack an airfield, an oil field. Right. We took no casualties, and we wiped out all but a couple hundred of them with just air support. It was a...
Did you see the video of that? With, like, the recording from the Russians that was translated and everything?
No. I
dude,
got other...
whole video, like, the entire radio conversation between,
it's like screaming?
The person who was in charge of that, like, immediately after it had happened. Like, well after, after the fact, giving the report of what had just happened to their commander. And he was like, they knew it was us. They knew it was all of us. They're all 100. They're all 800. They're all 800. 800 just means dead, right? It's like 800 is injured. Is either 800's injured, 900's dead, or vice versa. One of the two, right?
Right.
Everyone 800. This commander, that commander. They're 800. Like the Americans, they knew it was us. We tried to like draw it away. There's nothing we could do, and all of us were absolutely wiped out in points.
Yeah, and that was all air support. There was like very few actual like shots or rockets fired from the special forces actually on the ground, or Marines. I forget which.
With footage from like the freaking like. I don't know what they were called. So you call it AC-130, right? Like from like the ACs and 30s in the air that were doing the firing and shit, like helicopters.
Oh, it wasn't just AC-130s. It was AC-130s. It was Apaches. It was bombers. It was drones. It was everything at once.
They had a whole bunch of like night vision camera footage that they were recording at the time when they were doing it, and it was playing that in the background too. So it's like you get to see a bunch of white dots like float up. It's cool.
Yeah, and that's how it worked in Operation Desert Sword as well. In the invasion of Afghanistan in 2003 or whatever, we take over the sky, and the skies are ours now.
Oh my god! Have you actually seen?
I have. I watched that while it was happening as a kid.
Okay.
Like I was cognizant, and listen, I watched 9/11 happen live. Okay, I am very, I'm very aware of all that stuff. I grew up watching that. I grew up watching our troops just roll into Afghanistan and all that. Well, that's exactly what I mean. 91. Now 91 was before me. To be fair, I was born in 94, but 91, the Persian Gulf War, Operation Desert Storm and Desert Sword. That was against the Iraqi army, which at the time was the 4th largest army in the world. It was gone in hours. And that was...
They just simply don't have the level of technology we do. That's just what it comes down to.
It's not just the technology, it's ability to move it to exactly where we want it to be and to supply it with everything it requires, and then be able to and this is another huge one, be able to coordinate it so all of the technology hits you at the same time. You have no time to breathe. There is no breathing. You're going to get hit with our artillery, you're going to get hit with our tanks, you're going to get hit with our air support all at the exact same time. Anywhere we want to put, and we're going to hit in one spot, so it's absolutely overwhelming. There's nothing on the planet that could legitimately stop a focus strike. Because, well, like, no one else outside of NATO fights like us. Like, they like, you see that in Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine's not even using NATO tactics, for the most part. They're using Russian tactics, which is why it's slogging out. What's that?
You should give me the best idea. So you know how the Hamas group rode, like, fucking overpowered paragliders in to, like, infiltrate? We should set up our military with the Florida Man squad that use the exact same tactics. You just grab a couple of random Florida men who are like in prison for doing crazy shit. Make them our suicide squad. Give them a whole bunch of
Well, we're actually seeing why that would be a terrible idea exactly in Russia, because Russia's mostly doing that. Penal battalions are just kind of bad and not really useful, especially in modern warfare. Because the tactics that actually make you effective as light infantry are so complicated to counter all of the technological insanity that, like, prisoners are, like, among the worst possible people. This is actually something that's happening in the U.S. military. So the military in general, as a concept, since, you know, maybe like the 1700s, when nation-states having standing armies became, like, extremely normal. Because through most of history, nations having standing armies was actually not the norm. It was too expensive to have people that much of the population, enough of the population to be effective, but enough to stand around and not be doing things like farming was too expensive. So that wasn't actually a thing until like the 1700s, and nation states had standing armies. So when that happened, it was consistently utilized as a way for the lower classes, the underclass, if you will, to rise up the social ranks, because they would not only get pay and have something useful to do for society, but also get a lot of skills. And that kept going, especially through to like the late 1900s in the US, If you're in a lower class, you join the U.S. military, you get a bunch of skills and a bunch of leadership capability and a bunch of experience, and then you leave and then you enter the workforce and you have opportunity after opportunity just open it up right for you because they're like, oh, you were in the U.S. military, you know how to do stuff, and we know you're disciplined because you don't stay in the U.S. military if you don't become disciplined. So like you're pretty reliable minus any like say like PTSD problems. Depending,
Yeah.
right? For the most part, though, it's usually a good idea to hire, military if you're actually thinking about it. That's becoming more of a problem today because our forces are becoming so advanced in that, like, basically anyone that's not a grunt army rifleman or a marine rifleman is like the equivalent of an engineer in the amount of stuff they have to know to be able to do their job. Like, there's this guy.
I have a funny little tangent about the veteran thing.
Oh, go on.
I have a buddy I knew since like the beginning of high school, right?
Yeah,
and once
yeah.
he got out of high school, he did like a year of trying to do stuff, like a gap year type deal, trying to try out jobs.
Yeah.
Before he joined the army,
Mhm.
and he got medically discharged about like in the middle of the last month of boot camp because like literally I like read the thing. He was in his sleep. He got medically discharged for extreme sleepwalking. In his sleep, he would get up, put on full combat equipment, get his rifle, load it, and then go do combat drills while fully asleep. And the exact quote from his drill instructor was, "God damn, I taught him so fucking well he could do it in his sleep. And none of you will be as good as him, and he's getting medically discharged."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So like so here's what happens is there's this guy I watched the Habitual Line Crosser, and he's an active duty air defender. He runs US Patriot defense systems, right?
Yeah.
And he said this in a recent video. It's like, I am not being a hyperbolic. A lot of other military can back me up on this. The stack of books I have to read to know how to do my job properly is literally taller than I am, and I'm 6'2". Like you have to be so mentally capable to do most of the jobs we now have in the military, that now it's becoming consistently harder for like a lot of the lower class to join in the same way you used to be able to. It used to be like you could be the most gruntiest grunt of a dude and you'd have a place. Now it's like, all right, well, I mean, do we need more riflemen? Maybe?
Mm-hmm.
But can you do calculus? Can you do trigonometry? Can you take apart, this engine and put it back together in like 30 minutes? Like whatever. Now granted, most people can be trained to do that stuff, but we're having to become a bit more selective than we used to is the main point. Because our capability is so, shock and awe, Diablo, exactly. Everyone, including our own people, will be shocked and awed at the sheer amount of simultaneous firepower leveled on a single point. And that was actually something a couple weeks ago. I was listening to some Special Forces interviews, and one of them made this great point. It's like, we didn't lose in the Middle East because of anything related to combat, because we never lost a firefight. Like, ever. They always ran away. The problems were political and economic. Mostly political. It was never our combat capability. Not a single time. And with Russia, the thing is with Russia, Ukraine, and why I don't think that's a good argument why the US couldn't, like, do anything it wants in reality. Because nothing can stop them.
Looking at it is like the level of technology that everyone can grab now makes it significantly harder than it would have been like 50 years ago.
Even most of NATO are a full generation behind us in most cases. Oh yeah, Diablo, aren't you ex-military? I'm pretty sure Diablo Bob's actually ex-military.
Yeah, I feel like Manpad's just kind of put a wrench on a lot of things. There's not very many even like U.S. aircraft that don't have to like really worry about manpads. They always have to worry about manpads. It's one of the reasons why we left the Middle East to begin with, because everyone fucking has man pads now, and it's getting harder and harder to put your planes up there. Like, yeah, we can counter it every time, but it's like you have to be focused. You know, you can't ignore it, or else otherwise you just go boom. Because some random dude had a handheld thing on the ground that you can't detect until it's been fired.
Sure, but it depends on what you're trying to do that would even necessarily put you in range of that to begin with. I mean, man pads, yeah, are a threat, but like their range is still limited, right?
They only really hit low flying stuff.
Which we can, we have plane fired missiles that, if memory serves, have in like the hundreds of kilometers range. Oh yeah, there's this new weapon I saw this recently. This blew my mind. There's a new weapon system that we're in the process of incorporating right now. It's literally just a crate. It's like a pallet crate that we drop out of the back of a... Where did this transfer go? Did it fall in the water? Oh, yeah, there it is. I'm staring at it. We drop it out of the back of a cargo plane, and out of the pallet, as it's falling, pops out ballistic missiles in like the 12 or 14 number per crate, and they independently acquire targets and fly out of that. So like you don't even need the engineer person. I just realized my music's getting doubled. Let me fix that. We don't even need some guy at a launch site over in the area of engagement to put in the coordinates of where we want stuff gone. We just need to put it into the missile, into the crate, like potentially on the US shore, and then go hit targets over in like Europe or Africa or wherever, because it's wherever we can get a cargo plane, which is literally anywhere on the planet, right? And then if memory serves, the range of those rockets is like another 1,200 kilometers.
In the air indefinitely now.
Oh yeah, no, we could do that. We could do that in the Cold War, because that was literally a thing. That was called Operation Chrome Dome. We had planes in the air for years.
Keep them up there forever, so there's nothing that's unreachable. You have to go really.
How much
really
nuclear physics do you know?
Try to run vertically, you know, and even then, our space program's better than yours. So good luck with that.
Yeah, right. How much nuclear physics do I know? I know like a little. I couldn't do like any math or anything, but I know like basics of like.
Motherfucker just said that like as a casual
concepts.
How much nuclear physics do you know? Pushes my glasses back
up. My bot died again. Which bot? No, it's the chat's showing up. Which bot is not working? Is there a? I don't have nearly as many commands as I do as in the past, if that's what you're talking about. Oh, the music. Oh, okay. Wait a second. Hold on. Oh, wait. Hold on. I know what's happening. Hold on, side. I can't hear you. For a second. I need to fix stuff. Why? Oh, wait. Nope. Not I can hear you. I heard you just in time for the belch. That's great. Okay. I got the music fixed. Thanks, Diablo. I will catch you later. Let me know when you come back, Diablo, so we can talk about the Warhammer stuff. I gotta explain how Raven Guard works. And how Strike works and everything. Okay, so we can... And those missiles had, like, I think it was like 1,200 kilometer range after they get dropped out of the cargo plane. So it's like... Oh, we need a bunch of things gone. Independent targets. Oh, send a cargo plane. That's it. That's all we need. At, like, way farther range than anything could pop out. Oh, yeah, Diablo's retired Air Force. Okay, so yeah. Diablo knows what I'm talking about. Where's my chat screen? I can see a chat in the OBS on the mention. Oh, yeah, here we go. I fully agree with everything you've said. Right, yeah. I mean, like, a lot of this information I get from, former military or even active military YouTubers. Like, these are guys that are literally in it. They do it. They're living. So, okay. So, American expansionism, if we want to do it like old world empire style, we could. Honestly, I think actually even half our allies would be like on board with it. They were, actually, I said that in the Discord, and someone immediately made a joke. It's like the fact that we have not annexed Mexico says that we are not expansionist. and I said, yeah, if we just so much as asked Canada, we'd probably like just get a whole bunch of states out of that because they would do it of their own accord. The Canadian wilderness can keep Quebec though. That's fine. So the US keeps oil flowing, and for the most part just asks other countries to like play nice and allow trade. That's like the majority of our actual input most of the time. And then when people start messing with, say, gas prices or semiconductor production, things we actually need, or mess with US citizens, like taking US hostages, that's when we get involved. Or in what's happening right now, where Hezbollah, or however you pronounce it, is threatening to strike Israel out of Lebanon. Well, Israel is currently classified as a US ally, so it is our diplomatic obligation to go sit in on that and say no, because we have not just a carrier group. It's not just a carrier group. It is the carrier group with the Ford, the largest and most advanced aircraft carrier, not in our military, but in the world, and by a mile. This is like the absolute single largest projection of force we could possibly put into any one location. Oh yeah, the Dragonfire or whatever they call it. Oh yeah, I think that is what that missile system is called. Yeah, where you just drop a bunch of missiles out of the back of a cargo plane. It's so insane. It's like it's so insanely efficient.
It's like combining modern tactics with World War I tactics. Like back when we couldn't laser guide bombs, we would just drop a fuck ton of them because hopefully at least one of them will hit the target, right? But now we can laser guide them and we're dropping a fuck ton of them.
It's lagging really bad. Oh, well that I can't really help. Okay, so by historical standards, you know, for most of human history, I mean most, we're talking like about 10,000 odd years of recorded history, and in the last 70 the US has been on the world stage, right? World War II basically, so 80 years, we'll say 80 years. The last 80 years America has conquered what exactly? I mean, we took a couple islands in like World War I, World War II, and then half of them we gave back to their people, right? Like the Philippines used to be a US territory. They're a country now. So, about that. Then comes up the question of, oh, well, you know, I said, so expansionism is anything that's not isolationist. And then the question comes up of like, well, are we spending too much on the US military? It's like, okay, let me pull up the numbers. In 2022, we spent 12% of our federal spending on defense spending. 12%. That's it. For some comparison, because it's all about them numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk hard actual numbers. Let's see, where is it? When you look at, okay, Medicare, Medicaid, and other healthcare, 27% was our federal spending in 2022. Social Security was 19%. That makes up 46% across those like two categories. That's half of our spending. Income security, 18%. The miscellaneous category was 16%, which is like everything else, including like foreign aid. The amount of money we sent to Ukraine in 2022, for example, in like hard dollar amounts was $43.9 billion, and we're talking about a single giant $100 billion thing right now. While Biden is still president, he's trying to push that so that can just be done, and then like it doesn't matter if they can't decide on renewing overtime spending for a while because they just got a huge lump cash thing, right?
Mhm.
What does that mean in real terms? Well, in 2022, the federal government spent $6.27 trillion. So we sent to Ukraine in 2022 0.7% or 0.007 of the amount of money we actually spent through the year. Most of that, as I just went over, like half of that was just in Medicare or healthcare and Social Security, or about $3 trillion. What's that about?
Jeez.
Like we need to spend more money locally? Excuse me? Or less money on our military? What? Which, by the way, this is because people in America don't understand how rich we are. They're like, oh, I'm poor in relation to America, so I'm poor. No. U.S. is the wealthiest country in the world, and by a long shot. Don't get it twisted. China coming up and whatever, they have, nearly 1.5 billion people, okay? And they're still only like 3/4 of our GDP. We're 360 odd million people, and our GDP is like 22 trillion or whatever GDP or something like that. We spend 12% of our federal spending on our military, and it is still more than the next. How many militaries combined? Hold on, I just had the chart here somewhere. More than the next 10 countries combined, with it still only being 12%, which by the way is a historical low for our percentage of GDP used on military. We are extremely rich. We can afford to spend this insane amount of money on our military. We can absolutely afford it. We are spending so much more on welfare and healthcare and everything else. So like I'm completely done with people trying to say that we shouldn't be spending money on Ukraine, we shouldn't be spending money on our military, we should be spending it more at home. It's like, no, we spend so much money at home, that's not the actual problem. You just don't want us to be spending any money. Which is like, okay, if money's not fixing the problems you want locally, here's the reality. It's not about money then, it's a systemic problem, which I would agree with. Why are American healthcare prices 7 to 15 times that of the global standard for this level of technological capability? Like, say, European healthcare costs, right, are 7 to 15 times less than ours. That's the real question you should be asking. Not that we should be spending more on it, because spending is clearly not the problem. $3 trillion later in a single year. Trillion. That's a T. The big T. So
Big T.
the big T. So that's not the problem. It's not that we're spending money in Ukraine is the reason that you can't get the healthcare you need. That's not the issue. Now Israel's a mess. I actually proposed this last night or yesterday. I was like, listen, it seems like most of the people in some kind of power don't want peace. Is that a situation where we're actually better off just as like the people watching it from outside? If this isn't the type of situation where we might be better off just turning a blind eye to because no one's in the right over there.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, everyone's a bad guy on a humanitarian level because everyone's doing messed up stuff.
It's hard to look at the things that just happened because Israel and Palestine have been at each other's throats for fucking ever.
I'd say this
know?
Hamas attack.
You can't just look at the things that happened just now because they've been at each other's throats forever. So you can't be like, Hamas hit first, you know?
Well,
like, it's so much more.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, sure. I mean, as far as the last couple of days, Hamas is definitely the one in the wrong because of how they're doing it. As far as I'm concerned, they're doing straight up war crimes, which like I'm never gonna be okay with anyone doing, and that includes us. Okay, we have definitely war crimes, and that was bad. Don't war crime. You can. I know it's hard. I know it's real hard, but you can do military actions without killing civilians, just unnecessarily.
Dude, there was so many videos on the subreddit of just like people driving their car down the road, and then one random Hamas dude would pop out of the corner and just like AK their entire car down.
Yeah,
Oh,
like there
crazy
were
shit,
areas where the official report was some guy like just or not some guy, a group of like a squad would just hold down one spot in an urban area and shoot anything that like moved that they could see.
Mhm.
Anything came remotely close, they just shot like without warning. It's like you can't be doing that. That's not it's not kosher.
Yeah.
So like Hamas is definitely the problem here. Not only did they attack first, which like you could argue, oh, I mean they're the ones being occupied. We can get into that, sure, but anything anyone else does doesn't give you the right to war crime and kill civilians. And I know it's a bit complicated because technically everyone above 18 is like has been military at some point, but are they active military though? I mean, they aren't actually a combatant until they get pulled back in active service in reality. At least as far as I'm concerned, that's how I see it. And then sure, if you want to get into how they're being occupied and everything, but like this kind of comes back to like, okay, the Palestinians. Who are the Palestinians exactly? Because before it was made into Israel, it was controlled by the British, who took it from the Ottomans, who have had that territory for like 1,000 years? Or something like that. Like, there was no Palestinian identity until after Israel became a thing. It's a reactionary identity, really. Which, like, I'm sure that doesn't help the people actually living there. But then, it really complicates the situation because you can't just say, oh, well, Israel should give all the land back to, like, the Palestinians and the Palestinians become a country. It's like, well, that's a little complicated seeing that they were never a country before. Ask that when you were talking about military entry. Oh, even that last post was like 10 minutes ago. Sorry, I was not looking at chat. So I know personally I don't really have a solution for what's going on there. Partially because any solution I would probably think of is hilariously idealistic. But I can say what Hamas is doing right now is pretty messed up, and the way I have predominantly seen Israel responding, which has been with overwhelming military force, which honestly is how I believe you should respond. If you're gonna throw in military, overwhelm. Like a US overmatch policy, basically. I think that's the correct way of doing it. You want your wars to be as short and brutal as possible because the actual amount of lives lost will be less overall, because the enemy will not be able to continue, or won't want to continue fighting because they're getting so annihilated. Which actually the first time I saw this explained was ironically in Warhammer. That was the official military doctrine of the Luna Wolves Space Marine Legion. And they were the shock assault masters. Like of Space Marines, the shock assault troops, even back when they were legions, the Luna Wolves were the masters of, like, shock assault in particular. There was no one better on the fast and hard offense than the Luna Wolves, and that's because their doctrine was they wanted shorter wars, so they went as aggressive as possible. It's like, no, we want the enemy to not only have lost, they want them to be broken, like, in as shorter time as possible, because they're like, yeah, we don't even want any more of this kind of war. This is, like, too much. So, yeah, absolutely hammer anyone that ends up requiring you to military intervene. But the way they're doing it is they call it, like, knock bombs. So first they'll release, like, flyers and stuff saying, hey, this is going to be a military target. You have X amount of time to leave, to, like, the civilians. And then they'll drop a bomb that's meant to just pop the roof off the building.
Oh yeah.
And then
that's the first
later,
one we saw on the news thing for the Israeli thing.
right, and then later they
Not
drop the
bombs, and then
actual
later,
bombs to annihilate the infrastructure so that the enemy can no longer use it. So like it's
Yeah, that's
then
how
it's
they got
on
that one giant building that collapsed. They knock bombed the roof, then a missile went straight down into it, hit the ground level, and it just fucking
right, but they give it a period of time between the knock bomb and the missile so that the civilians can leave, or
Yeah.
even the enemy. If it's like, listen, if you just like
Ross did
don't
not do
want
that.
this smoke, just go. We
Yeah,
will
yeah,
allow
but-
you to go, and that's a really
It goes
humane
without
way of
saying
fighting
that
war.
Ross did not exactly do that.
Yeah, they were slightly more abrupt in their military doctrine. So like, yeah, if they're primarily using tactics like that,
I'm pretty sure their entire military doctrine just says God wants them to die,
yeah, something
and
like
so
that.
we will do it.
Right. So it's like, man, I'm having a hard time in this specific moment having a serious issue with Israel. It's not to say Israel has not done a lot of messed up stuff before, and I will totally admit that, and I'm pretty sus on Israel in general. But as of the last like 4 days, yeah, Hamas seems to be the problem child here.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the first entire day this was happening, I kept messing up and saying Hassan because I've been watching a lot of like Hassan v like or Hassan on yeah Hassan v. I'm pretty sure. Well, Hassan is anti-Israel, so that makes total sense. Actually, he's also like pro-China and anti-U.S., which is not surprising because he's like straight up a communist. He's a bad one. He's pretty stupid. Reality, and makes my head hurt when I listen to him, but like he's not the best, but yeah, I kept saying Hassan.
Anytime I hear him say the totalitarian in anyone else's video, I immediately click off.
I know, right? It's like, oh, you want to talk about totalitarian, huh? Are you sure you want to go down that road?
I'm just sitting here like, I don't know what that word means, and I don't want to learn, Hassan. Fuck off.
Oh wait, do you actually not know what that really means?
I do.
Okay, I was about to say like it's not that complicated. Yeah. So, oh boy, I'm fired up. Basically, it's like I've been on this whole. Okay, I have to. Like, there's some personal historical precedent as to why I'm this fired up. Okay, and this was actually like thrown in my face last night. I've been either like libertarian or like anarcho-capitalist for most of my life. Very recently did I like learn certain things about like geopolitics and military doctrine and economics that made me basically understand why the world is currently the way it is, and that America is predominantly actually the good guy, which is great because I live in America, so like by all means. In that we can't be isolationist at this point. That's not a thing. Okay, this like jumped off my brush and I can't find it now because it's white and my desk is white. Where'd this go? Okay, so like pretty recently, which by the way, I'm 29, about to hit like the halfway mark actually because it's October. Actually no, tomorrow is the halfway mark. I'm exactly tomorrow I'll be exactly 6 months away from being 30. So I know, right? Actually, okay, here's how I've like completely gone over like being like, oh no, I'm 30 now, okay? It's because I decided, alright, now that I'm in the middle, I can be like, okay, anyone under 25 is like automatically cringe because they're a kid and don't know anything, and I know everything. And everyone above like let's say 40 is a boomer and know nothing because they're completely out of date, and I am up to date because I'm a millennial. So perfect. I'm right in the middle. I am prime specimen of the American male. Everyone else is cringe. I'm the best. Like that's how I choose to look at it now. I am the ideal age. My body hasn't quite completely fallen apart yet, and I'm also still sharp enough to keep up with what's going on. This too has completely disappeared. I'm like losing my mind. Where did this jump? I know it jumped off forward and to the right, and I just saw it, and now I can't find it. It's just gone.
Gone forever.
It's gone forever.
Time to start making a new one out of molding putty.
No, it's a water slide transfer, but I got cut into like a completely different sheet. So like the sheets come in like squad numbers of like that number, like 5 of them, because the standard Space Marine squad is 5 to 10. So I took all the 2s from one sheet for these 5 guys, and now I got cut into a new sheet, and it like messes with like I don't actually have OCD, but like what leads up to OCD. It's just annoying. Like, I want... yeah. Anyway.
Continuing.
So, I started learning, and you know what helped me really hit this was actually, relating this to, like, empire building strategy games, which is funny because, like, I've played those for, like, most of my life. But then, oh yeah, I was looking at, China. China's wealth in relation to their population really knitted all these numbers together and caused all my principles to like entirely morph. Basically, it's like more me realizing that my principles were not idealistic, or no, were too idealistic, were not practical under any circumstances. So why even keep them? It's just a waste of time instead of like focusing on the practical, what stuff can actually be done, right? So but it was okay. So like, if you're playing Age of Empires, right? You want more population because it allows you to do more things, right? Like you want to spawn more villagers and then spawn more soldiers, and that's always a good thing, as long as you're doing things correctly, right? And that's how it works in real life. More population means more things you can do, if your system is actually working. So people were trying to say that China's not only not about to collapse, which it totally is. It's a question of when, not like when reasonably soon, like within the next decade. I'm gonna say decade. I'm not gonna say in 6 months. I'm not gonna say in a year, because there are things that could push it out. I'm gonna say decade. Okay, play it a little safe here. But China's been having some serious problems. So people have been saying not only is it not about to collapse, but it's about to overtake the US because its GDP has been steadily climbing and closing the distance. Yeah, okay. First off, US's population is 360 million right now. It is still like $5 trillion more GDP than China's. China has 1.4 billion. You're gonna tell me that China's system is so much better than the US's, and they cannot even catch up to ours with how many times more people? Like nearly 5 times more people? Excuse me?
China #1.
Yeah, about that. Okay. Then it started hitting me on like, okay, well, hold on. Maybe our system's actually working great. It's just like finer details. Like I've been so anti-US federal government for so much of my life, but that's because I kind of started fairly young. Because you have to understand. I was like 7 years old when I watched 9/11 and it happened live. And even at 7, I could tell this looks kind of weird.
There was definitely a secondary explosion, I'll just say that.
Right. I'm still kind of leaning towards the US did it, one way or another. Like, whether it's the whole, like, bombs in the basement, you know, whatever. We can talk about details, right? But I don't
Sorry,
think...
give me a moment. I'm getting a knock on my door. I'll be right back.
How dare. How's chat doing? How are the people in chat?
I'm back.
Oh, never mind, chat. You don't matter. Okay.
They were just asking food-related stuff for later.
Okay. Okay. So, 7 years old, 9/11, right? Immediately after that, all of my formative years were watching the War on Terror. While the War on Drugs was going on. While this and that, and then Guess what was my freshman year of high school? 2008
What?
financial collapse.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So, my most formulative years for like the way I think were dominated by US financial decisions, crushed the whole world, and we're having all these other giant like freedom crises because you're also looking at that's when like Obamacare came out, that's when the TSA got started, that's when the Patriot Act was a thing, like all this stuff, all like the government was on full, like the U.S. government was like the most dark arc it's like ever been, honestly, flat out, right? So I was so anti-U.S. federal government, like you know, we need to take back our constitutional freedoms. We need as many guns as we can because the U.S. or the government could send the military after our guns at any moment. Like whole hog. Those were my teens and then into my 20s, like my early 20s. And it was like, okay, humans, I think, are mostly good. We can, like, if we mostly focus on trading between ourselves, we keep it completely consensual. Things, you know, things will mostly handle themselves. I did study a fair bit of, like, economics, so I was like, nah, the market's, like, pretty self-correcting. And, like, there's always going to be problems no matter what system you use, but I think this is, like, the better one if we just go whole hog capitalism. Which I still think, like, as much capitalism as possible, but possible is the key word there.
Yeah.
So like it was only in the last like year, after leaving my ex, having way more time to like focus on my own, you know, intellectual development again for the first time in years.
How Redditors see themselves. I spent years focusing on my intellectual development. Push his glasses up.
Okay. Just do like the anime thing where like my glasses sheen out.
Like they have like a sheen that goes across them.
Yep, exactly. As me
Activated my trap card, Israelis.
activated my trap card, which is geopolitics. So
You think I'm gonna let you get away with this one? On my Discord server that I'm a moderator on? No way.
So, well, here's the thing. If you do a lot of debates, especially in text, okay, where people can quote you real easy and post articles with quotes from the articles, man, it's hard to get away with shenanigans.
You,
What's that?
Ain't no one posting articles about you, bro.
Not articles about me. I'm saying articles to support or support their point or attack your point or whatever, okay? And then quote from those articles, and then quote the articles your opposition posted.
They're quoting articles of like someone's writing a fucking article about you because you said something in a Discord chat server that has like 200 people. It's like this guy.
Oh, okay. I should qualify. By the way, the server I'm usually referring to is over 1,600 people from all over the world.
Fair enough.
It's not a small server.
Well, I guess 1,600 is not that many people.
No, but it's a lot. It's a lot for
like maybe
political.
2 from each country.
Oh no! We have a ton of people, especially on our active group. We have people from all over the planet. We have like this actually in the international politics channel in particular. There's these 2 guys that are both from Italy. One's a kind of right-wing military guy, and the other one's a full-on like communist. And they're both Italian, and they're both constantly going at each other. And it's really fun because they keep jumping in and out between English and Italian. No, we got there's a whole like ecosystem going on in there. It's a whole it's not just politics, by the way. We have a philosophy channel, which is actually where most of the staff. I'm the main political staffer, actually. Most of the staff people are philosophy or theology. That's where they spend their time. But we also got literature, history, econ, STEM. We for politics, we have like civil discussion, international politics, American politics, and British politics. I stay out of British politics; they don't make any sense to me. But unsurprisingly, Interpol is usually talking about Ukraine. Lately, it's been Israel, but yeah, like it's not really a tiny. Actually, I can pull up some stats. We have a bot that tracks that stuff. When was the last time our top got asked the bot? Last, let's see. Last 30 days as of September 19th. So, August to September. 15.7 thousand messages. Contribution of 170 members, it looks like, which that was actually a low. Yeah, 30 days before that was 194. Over 200 the one before that. Yeah, 233 for July to August, mid-July to mid-August. So it's like, I mean, it's not politics, like all caps politics, which is like the Wild West, by the way. If you want to see the realm of chaos in all reality, go into politics. The server just called politics is like thousands of people posting so fast you can't read anything, and they're all unhinged. We're talking all the way right, all the way left, kill all the Jews, we are all Jews, and also aliens. Like, it is madness. And there's always like 14 active voice calls going with like 8 to 20 people apiece. I went in there once and jumped between a few different channels. It was kind of fun, had some interesting conversations, but like, you could lose a whole week in there easy. But the text chats are like complete madness. There's like, it's like hard to even like try to like have an actual conversation. You can't write any. It's like it's turned into Twitter because it goes so fast. You can't type out anything with nuance in it because it's gone too quick. it just flies up the screen. So there is like a point where you don't want to be too big because you can't actually have good conversations. But generally speaking, 1,600 people, 200 average active users per month. Like it's not actually a small server as far as like politics go. Did I pull out? Oh, I pulled out too many ravens. Right, one of them has a molded pad. So I'm not just like screaming at the same like two guys every day. For clarity.
You fuckers.
Yeah.
Steve! Shut up, Steve!
Yeah.
Your opinions never matter, Steve. You should know this by now.
I mean, there's some regulars that like obviously like I know by name, not like literal name, but like I could pick out their username off top of my head and give you like a lowdown of like what they're about, but
Hey guys, today we're doing user reviews of the people in my political Discord server.
Dude,
that's fucking moron.
We have
this guy.
There's another much smaller offshoot channel. Okay, okay. This server's been around for like 6 years as well, 6 or 7 years. So there's been entire like divisions and offshoot servers that have come from this, and then offshoots from those offshoots. I've watched them be created because I'm in some of the offshoots as well, and as staff in one of them. We had an offshoot that was meant for more edgy, like super right-wing stuff, which I just happened to be friends with a number of people that were starting that. And then it became overwhelmed with absolutely belligerent Arabians. I mean, like just the worst. And eventually we had to like clean house. It's like, listen, no one else wants to ever join this server for more than 20 seconds because then they have some Arabians screaming at them that Allah is going to take their head off, literally. So, all you guys gotta go. And then that started another offshoot server, which I was in for like 3 weeks, just because it was kind of entertaining. Then I got bored, and none of the conversations went anywhere. It was just an echo chamber.
Mm-hmm.
But in the other one, in the one that's still kind of, I wouldn't say reasonable, but like, you can have a conversation there on occasion. We actually did do like, all right, just for laughs, we're gonna all make those like tier charts of the other users. we even acknowledged like this is kind of toxic, but it's also really funny. It wasn't on any specific metric. It was just, what do you think of this person? and I was like,
Loser.
most of you are Fs. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like most of you. I think most of you are cringe and stupid, but
You're like if sharing cam with a group of people in card, you're making eye contact with one of them as you say that. I think you're a fucking loser. It's just like, oh.
I mean, I've already done
Okay.
that, to be fair, but I don't think you realize
Rub your toe so hard.
my
die in-game.
I mean, I know I've said this before on stream, but like my quote-unquote like stream persona of being somewhat belligerent. I don't have characters. That's just how I am. The aggro level you see when I really get rolling is just my aggro level. That's just how I am all the time. It's like, listen, I think you're dumb. I think your takes are bad. Okay, I try to be a bit more constructive than just saying someone's dumb, to be fair.
Construct them a coffin.
Because at the end of the day,
a coffin.
I want things to become better for everyone, and in particular me. Which means other people can get better. Where did I just straight up lost another transfer somewhere. I don't even know what happened to it. I swear I cut out 5 arrows. I can't find one of the arrows. Yeah, there's only 5 minis here, so like I didn't. Dude, okay. Anyway, there's just a missing arrow, I guess. A broken arrow. We got a broken arrow, guys. You know what a broken arrow
Snappy
is,
Wappy.
right?
I thought you were talking about a model you were paying right now. My bad. What do you mean? Is it like a thing?
Broken arrow? Oh, that's the term the
It's a
U.S.
saying
government.
or something?
Yeah, that's the U.S. government term for
yeah.
a lost nuclear
know.
warhead.
Yeah, when you said broken arrow, my first assumption is that you were painting a model that had an arrow on it and you had snapped it. And I was like, oh, unfortunate.
No, this is the political stream of the week. We're going all like the code words and keywords and. I need to pull out another sheet. I don't even have another. So for Space Marines, okay, the different squad iconography for like their squad type, battle line or like regular infantry basically is an arrow, is like an upward arrow. And I cut out 5. I know I cut out 5 because it was like a new sheet, and I got 5 dudes, and I just can't find one of the arrows now. It's like the last thing I need to put on them, too. So... Alright, I lost the thread. I don't know where we're at in the other conversations. Yeah.
It ended up going on a tangent of hating Discord users.
Yeah, Discord users suck, but are still better than Twitter.
Fair enough.
So,
I still use Discord. Although for different reasons you do.
I mean, I use Discord for my primary social media at this point. I mean, okay. Everyone on
I feel bad referring
Facebook's...
to Discord as social media. It's not like social media as the other ones are, you know?
No,
Like, you
but
don't
all
have
the other
politics
ones
going on
kind of...
social media and doing ad slander campaigns on Discord, you know?
So, like, here's the thing.
Biden isn't doing a social media campaign and making a Joe Biden Discord server. It's just not what's
He
happening.
should, honestly. That'd be pretty... Listen, the first politician that makes their own Discord server, that's it. They got my vote, and I'm in that server.
I feel like Trump has a private Discord server for him and his friends. It just
There's-
feels like he does.
I mean, he'd have the personality type, but he is too far out of tech to actually have done that. I
Is
could
he?
see... Yes.
I felt like he was the more in-tech president we've had recently.
Oh, yeah, successfully elected, sure, but, like, actual like politician. Okay, you know who? I mean, I can't vote for him because he's going for Congress and he's in Texas. But like, you know who definitely already has one? And if he ever went for president, even though he said he isn't going to, he might because he could. Because I could see it happening. Um, Brandon Herrera. He's a gun tuber that now is going.
I know exactly who he is. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know for certain he has one, but I know he's active on Discord. I don't know where. I should find out because I watch like every single one of his videos.
Yeah, Brenda Herrera has his own Discord server for like his fucking YouTube subs and shit.
Yeah, like I don't know why I'm not in it. Oh, you know what it is? 'Cause I
also
like
super
guns.
Active in Donut Operators Discord.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Do I not have any more Raven? You gotta be kidding me. I have no more of that type of transfer. Wait, where's the brand new one? Oh, right, there was no basic infantry in that box. Ah, okay, here's the other thing. Raven Guard arrows are different from everyone else's arrows. They're only outlines. Raven Guard only do...
We're talking about Raven Guard nukes. See, now I'm confused. No.
Have Raven Guard use nukes? I'm sure they have it some.
I mean, I feel like
Here's the
nukes
thing.
are like the child's play in this era.
Yeah, like people don't really use.
Oh, nukes? You mean my common everyday pistol?
Actually, you're not wrong. No, I was just about to say, like, I mean, in
You mean
40K,
a moderate to okay grenade launcher?
40K, they don't really use nukes much because they just have so much better stuff that can do more damage with less fallout. Great.
They're gonna drop a nuke on the city! Oh my god, one guy made it in with your common everyday grenade launcher? No fucking way!
Yeah, pretty much.
No, this is terrible.
I know not what World War III will be fought with, but I know World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones.
Yeah. Let's get to actually World War III first, and then we'll talk about that. I still don't
We'll cross
think.
that bridge when we get to it, Einstein. Calm down.
Yeah, I still don't even think World War III will have nukes involved. Actually, it seems to me, I said this earlier today, actually, seems to me, if a country wants peace, they need to get nukes. Peace automatically unlocked. Because you know all the countries that
If you
haven't
want
gone
peace, you need a
to...
peace.
You know the
Don't
countries...
get caught lacking countries.
Well, that's the thing, and that's actually, that was a whole part of that conversation with the guy that was talking about how Americans expansionist, and I'm like, you're dumb.
What have we expanded to?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's
Tell me.
that.
We stopped.
And he's
could've
like,
kept going.
oh, us getting involved in all these other conflicts throughout the world that have nothing to do with America. I'm like, they got everything to do with America because America's got trade everywhere else. Like, what are you talking about?
Americans are expansionists. Not anymore. Come on. It was so long ago. You always got to bring up the past.
Yeah, it's only been it's been
Not
a whole
anymore.
6 months of Venom Rats like Exterminatus. Yeah, I mean, well, depends on how they did the Exterminatus.
Anymore.
I don't like.
Little guy.
They could definitely make a nuke that could pop a planet, but it's like there are easier ways of popping a planet, even in 40K, than a nuke.
Drove to core.
Here's what I don't get. I mean, I know they have done it, but I don't know why this isn't done all the time. Just grab a asteroid from somewhere in system. Just send that at the planet. Yeah, I don't have another outline in there.
Some kind of crossover between the 40K franchise and the Halo franchise, where the Covenant try to invade like some 40K high, like freaking like Hive World or something, and they just get fucking shit slapped, like wiggled side to side and thrown against the wall, like the Covenant.
Oh,
Just,
yeah.
like don't even like, it's like the polar opposite of what happened when they attacked our worlds in the normal Halo franchise. It'd be so funny. I think it'd be the most entertaining shit ever.
Like, oh, it's the humans, and the humans are like, it's Xenos, and they're like, why are they calling us Xenos? Also, why are their guns, like, blowing us up? Like, las guns.
Yeah.
Las gun, you wouldn't even need...
Does anyone have energy shield technology in the 40K universe that is similar to, like, the energy shield technology you see commonly used in Halo?
Oh, yeah,
Do they have something
everywhere.
that's like that?
Everywhere. everywhere.
Oh, they do?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
don't know what they're going against. We have laser guns and energy shields. And then one of them shoots them with a mini nuke from a pistol and they explode. And they're like, wah, 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 wah. What the
So-
fuck? Like, what the fucking insane Healy?
So, basic Imperial Guardsmen. Let's go up the scale, one by one, okay?
Yeah.
This is how, like, bad Covenant's gonna get romped, okay? Basic Imperial Guardsman gear.
Romped and swamped, if you may say.
Yeah. Basic Imperial Guardsmen. They have a las gun, right? Okay. Las gun is a projected energy weapon. It's a laser gun, straight up. That's what las gun means. That never jams. Has like 100 odd shots in a in a power pack, which can be recharged by either putting it in the sun for a while or even throwing it into a campfire. That's likely to cause long-term damage. Not short-term, long-term damage, but doing it that way. But you can do it in a pinch. They can also be set to overload and be used as grenades. I mean, effective grenades. So, literally the equivalent of a plasma grenade. Actually, I think stronger. So that's their magazine. So, when they shoot, straight line, full auto, most of them, by the way. The standard, like, Cadian style las gun is full auto. When it hits, if it hits a human, let's say it hits you in the left shoulder, your left arm is not attached to your body anymore. If it hits a concrete barrier, there's now a solid, like, crater in that concrete.
If it hits your left shoulder, I'm pretty sure you don't have a head anymore either.
Yeah, actually, most of your head's probably gone as well. Yeah, no, because it causes
past your left shoulder, you still don't have a head anymore.
right. Like it's actually the damage is on par with what plasma weapons from the Covenant would probably realistically do.
No. It's significantly more because the plasma. Because you have to look at it like the las weapons. It's like one of the Covenant sticky grenades going off every shot.
Well,
The
yeah,
Covenant, their
but the
weapon
plasma
equivalent of something
weapons
that's like a
should
sticky
do that
grenade going
either.
off every shot. Their equivalent of that is a really big, giant, bulky, like shoulder-mounted rocket launcher system that takes numerous seconds to charge and lock on to an individual before firing up to like 4 to 3 at once. You know, compared to their las guns that can do 100 of those grenade-like explosions with their plasma shots, like, you know, on one mag in like rapid fire. I feel like that's like just a couple thousand years past what the government's capable of managing with their laser weapons. You know.
Well, here's the weird thing: is that Covenant plasma weapons should actually be on that level because for plasma to even like exist in the way that's shown, it should be hot enough that it causes the same type of, like massive, instantaneous boiling point. Explosion caused by the moisture.
Like, the Covenants is like the bare minimum of that reaction being caused. Meanwhile, the
las gun is a fair bit more, yeah.
Yeah, it's a much more optimized.
So,
much more optimized.
And then they have frag and crack grenades.
But then again, you also have to keep in mind that some Covenant weapons have indefinite ammunition. And their recharge time is only a couple of seconds. You just can't rapid fire it without having to then spend a few seconds to recharge.
I mean, sure, but like ammo's
in some ways.
Ammo's not going to be the problem in this case.
It's a slight factor, just a little bit. Maybe.
So I'm still looking for this arrow. It's really like because I don't have any more. It turns out that was the last of my battle line.
Like a weapon arrow or like a pointing arrow?
It's a pointing arrow. It's a Okay, do you know what a slide? Have you been watching the actual stream, like the video?
No, I can't have that loaded and be talking.
Oh, okay, right. Because your technology sucks.
Sir, I'm trying to figure out what the main problem is. My power supply is dying and it doesn't give out enough power to support my parts. So eventually my ship will just turn itself off.
That's a problem.
Yep. Only problem is my power supply is a built-in part that's built in with like 4 other parts because my machine was a bare minimums machine. And so it's like I really can't upgrade one part without having to upgrade all 4 of them at once, you know?
Well, that sucks. So...
But yeah, continuing.
Okay, so then guardsmen have frag and crack...
Never mind, not continuing. Gotta knock on my door.
Ah! I got no idea where this arrow went. I guess I'm gonna move on at this point. I got nothing. To the bases, like. Oh, actually, no. Those should be dry now, so I should be able to. So that's more proves they're doing. Well, apparently, what he means by that is that it's usually his grandma knocking on his like bedroom door. Because I said the same thing, like 2 weeks ago. Venom. Oh, so Venom, how are you doing? And how are you enjoying the stream so far? Man, I can't wait till I get actual people on mics to debate with. It's gonna be such a, well, nightmare for everyone else. I'm gonna have a great time. During a topic and learning session, wrapping up work. Okay, cool. Good. I guess I'm just gonna put this one extra Raven. Ironically, I cut out extra Raven. Oh, someone joined the call.
Hello.
What's up, Zophiana?
Hello.
You are so quiet. Let me pop your volume up like a bunch.
I think you toned me down last time.
Yeah, I think I did. Well, all my audio things keep changing because I keep doing a bunch of different things.
Fair enough.
It's also like I have like 4 different audio systems I gotta keep track of.
That is also fail.
Like I have so my laptop pushes audio through the HDMI splitter into my streaming computer, which then pushes all the audio through OBS, which then goes to my headset. So if I, like, say, start up Baldur's Gate and it's too loud, I have, like, literally 5 different places I could, in theory, adjust the audio, and which one I decide to adjust, just as, like, whatever one I grab first. So then that ends up impacting everything else somewhere down the line. And that just happens all the time. Just something's too loud or too quiet, I'm switching audio lever somewhere. What does it affect? I don't know. We'll find out.
We'll find out later.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later.
So I actually played my first game of 10th Ed yesterday.
Nice. What do we got?
It was on Tabletop Sim, so I didn't have to buy models. So, oh hello.
Hey, yo.
Um,
Yeah, I was getting a knock on my door to tell me to answer a knock on the front door, which would have been really quick, but they were actually offering some bomb-ass cookies this time, so now I'm down $12, but I have 2 boxes of cookies. Anyway.
I'd say your position in the world has moved upwards, actually.
Yes.
Because
I would agree.
you are...
One tick.
What? Okay. You were saying,
One tick
Sophia?
on the tax bracket.
Oh, one... Oh, okay. Some people around here actually use that for time. Like, 1 tick, and they're like, wait a second, same thing. What am I doing here? Okay. 10th Ed.
But yeah,
You were giving us your social security number.
Yes.
no, I was talking about my game of 10th Ed
Game
Alright,
of
that I
what?
played yesterday.
Warhammer.
Warhammer.
We have to keep remembering,
Oh.
for some reason, we have Sai here, but Sai knows nothing about anything else we ever talk about.
I know more about
Understandable.
Wrath and Glory than you do.
That is true. But-
Ah, I've won this battle.
It was Tau against Orcs.
Okay.
So
I
far,
ca-
it's information I know.
I kind of swarmed the middle objective before he had a chance to do anything.
I assume as orcs.
Going good so far.
Although the
Orcs,
c-
yeah.
Although I was about to say, actually, Tau can do that now because almost all their guns can be fired in melee now, so that's a whole thing.
Yeah,
Still
no,
following.
but there was a reason my list that I decided to name is called Bikes, Trucks, and Buggy Mobiles.
So, Armageddon Steel Legion?
And I'm lost.
Oh, the Orcs.
No, I
know.
know, but it's
That's the lie.
mechanized. It's Blitzkrieg. It's Blitzkrieg, basically.
I literally have, if it's a mounted unit or a buggy, I have it.
Nice.
If it,
Buggy bomb.
So yes, literally Blitzkrieg.
yes, it was literally Blitzkrieg, but Orcs.
Yeah. Fun fact about like Blitzkrieg and how that got stuck in everyone's head that Germany was the super like mechanized fighting force, they still used a ton of horses. The actual first military to be 100% mechanized was the US in World War II, which everyone was shocked and horrified that we didn't use like any animals anywhere ever.
Messenger
Yeah.
pigeons?
They were like, you can
don't
make
give me
that
the,
many trucks?
messenger pigeons?
Yeah, but I had like 3 trucks.
Sounds
I
like
had
a
one of each buggy. I had a unit of bikes. I had a unit of knob bikes. I had a unit of death copters. I had one of the trucks had mega knobs. One of the trucks had flash gits, and one of the trucks had beast snaggers.
Whoa, calm down, bro.
Man.
You know what? You know what? Choose for Kroot a little easy.
Beast Nuggets. Because those guys are a problem.
And mega knobs.
Oh yeah, those. Well, I mean, of course, because they're Meganobs. They're one of the most elite infantry the orcs can field.
With a big mech in mega armor. Which, ironically, I think is actually a better freaking unit, a better freaking leader than a war boss in mega armor for the mega knobs.
You know, that makes total sense, because guess right now, one of the best Space Marine characters. The Tech Marine.
The Tech Marine and the Flamey Boy.
Yeah.
And the Flamey Boys. But, Big Mech and mega armor, just generic one.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally apothecary. It doesn't give a feel no pain, but at the beginning of each of your command phases, you just, if there's any destroyed models in the bodyguard unit, you just get one back.
Can you attach that to? Sorry, you might have actually just said this and I missed it. But can you attach that guy to any of the much stronger infantry units, or is that only like little guys?
I mean, it only can be attached to mega knobs.
Oh, okay, that's the part I missed. So yes, that's actually a good return on investment.
Yes.
Because that's like one of the like minor complaints I have of the current Space Marine apothecaries right now, is that the one that actually heals guys, like the actual combat medic guy, is the Tacticus one. So the only guys you can revive are 2 wound Tacticus models. Which, like, the best ones you could probably get for that return are probably Hellblasters, which is actually a great return because they shoot
on dying.
You can shoot like 3 times in a full round.
Mm-hmm.
Because actually no, 4 times. You can go 4 times because you can shoot, die, which causes you to shoot again. No, wait, no, hold on. You shoot. Hold on, when does his heal thing go off? That's actually important. Is that in command phase?
Mega knobs is still in command phase.
Yeah, but then there's like Overwatch, dying, shooting again, and then getting healed. Shooting out of... Actually, you use the new Firestorm thing to get out of the vehicle shot at, to shoot, die, shoot, or shoot, Overwatch, die while overwatching, shoot. You can get a lot of plasma out of a single Hellblaster in like a single round, depending on what's going on.
You don't know what's really good at. Also, what's really good at clearing out freaking crisis battle suits.
Also Mega Nubs.
Flash gets.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
With shooting, of all things.
Narthesium's in command phase. Okay. So it'd be like your enemy goes, they shoot at one of your vehicles, the Hellblasters pop out with the Apothecary in tow, shoot. Shoot. Then when someone else moves, you trigger Overwatch, shoot, then they die, shoot again on death, and then in your command phase, he gets them back up, and then can shoot, die, and then shoot again. And then in a single round, or single 2 turns, basically, an opponent's turn, your turn, it has shot 1, 2, 3, 5 times. It has had 5 complete shooting phases.
Also,
Which is oh wait, no, hold on. I think I'm screwing it up. I don't think you can actually have them get out of the thing to shoot and then shoot an Overwatch, because I think it does say they have to be eligible to shoot, and anything that's shot in that phase is not eligible unless something specifically says that they can. But if it's just based on eligibility, no. But no, you can get 4 times. You can get 4 full shootings in a round.
Yeah, but the funny thing was, by shock dragster, so the shock jump dragster
Mhm.
has the like a blank ability.
Mhm.
If it advances, you
Plasma lives. Speaking of Plasma, sorry, Plasma just jumped in the YouTube chat.
Yep. Hello. But the shock dragster popped up behind the Tau. And it, with shooting, so remember, this is Ulk shooting.
Yeah.
With shooting, with a precision weapon that the shock dragster has for some reason.
What? The fact that anything in the York Codex has the precision keyword is a little... Wait a second. No, we've seen this. Orc snipers, right? Says the Inquisition against the Celestial Alliance.
Yeah, but
Anyone else remember that?
the shock dragster apparently has a shock rifle. That's like 1 attack strength 8. It's basically a plasma sniper rifle. With dev wounds.
Take that, Covenant.
Take that, Ethereal.
Ooh,
It sniped the
that
Ethereal.
hurts.
It sniped the Ethereal.
That's...
The Tau army.
With a plasma sniper, that's disrespectful.
With basically an elk version of a plasma sniper.
That's absurd. Okay, speaking of Covenant. And actually, maybe I'll go back and explain the Orc Snipers thing to side, because it's kind of a fun story, the whole Celestial Alliance thing. It's a fun bit of lore. Okay, back to the Covenant, and how the Imperial Guard basic infantry are horrifying, and then I want to explain like how personal shielding kind of works, because Sai didn't really know about all the different like personal shield tech that you can find in 40k. So, Imperial Guardsmen to flesh out the rest of their gear. Frag grenades, your standard pineapple, and crack grenades, which are anti-vehicle grenades that use an implosion technology that's kind of reminds me of how like an RPG works. It's just like throwing a magnetic RPG warhead minus the rocket part, and that's a crack grenade, if I'm not mistaken. So, and then they're wearing flak armor, which is like, they make it sound like it's tissue paper in 40k, because in 40k terms tissue paper, but I'm pretty sure that's like on par with like the marine carapace armor you saw in Halo, if not a little bit better. I don't know if it's necessarily ODST grade, but it's not nothing in like Halo tech terms. That's every single Imperial Guardsman that will come at them in the hundreds of thousands if it's like a proper deployment. So it's like definitely not nothing in that regard. So personal shields, you can find as a bunch of different types. At least the ones without all stuff. We're not there yet. Yes, you have ones for humans. Like a lot of Inquisitors have personal shield devices. And you have for Space Marines, every single Terminator suit has a shield generator. That's one of the things that makes Terminator so good. Is not only is the armor itself some of the best armor you can possibly get at a 2+. And there is literally a story. You know how Titans are absolutely huge, like tens of like, what is it, like 60, 70, 80 meters tall, the average Titan. The scale is like all over the place in reality. Some of the art shows them way bigger, some of the descriptions show them way bigger, but anyway, a Titan has stepped on a Terminator that was lying on the ground, and it just sank the Terminator into the ground. The Terminator was completely fine. He was just in a Terminator-shaped hole in the ground. He literally got Looney Tuned. That's how good Terminator armor is. On top of that, they all have a shield generator, which is good enough to take, yes, even sometimes a Titan-grade weapon if the shield generator fully activates. Doesn't always take the hit. It's kind of weird. It's not hyper reliable, but when it activates, like, basically nothing's getting through that thing. Other factions do have shields. Orcs have shields. Tau have a ton of shields. Tau have so many shields, it's annoying. Is Zophiana, how many of their stuff, the Tau you faced, how much of that stuff had a 4-up? Don't forget to place their field to teleport the person if they're about to be hit by. Oh yeah, those exist too.
There wasn't a bunch of it. They just took the things that gave the battle suits extra wounds.
Okay. In my tournament that I did like a month ago now, maybe a little bit more than that, right after 10th came out, I faced the Tau Force that it was all suits except for one Pathfinder squad. Every single suit had
There was actually not that many
had a
suits
4-up.
in the list I was up against.
Really?
There was
Huh.
one unit Crisis. There was one unit Broadsides and one Ghost Keel.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Then there was a Hammerhead.
Yep.
A Hammerhead, a Skyway. 2 unit Kroot.
Okay.
1 unit of Kroot Rifles.
Son of
2
a...
unit.
Sorry. I'm having physical problems. Go on.
Yep. 2 units of the Vespids.
Yep.
2 units of Pathfinders and 3 units of Fire Royals. And to quote with the Fire Royals, he thought it was still knife fed, and your only battle line was. Thought you had to have 3 battle line, and he thought the only battle line you had was Fire Royals.
Yeah, poor Fire Warriors. They're never going to see the table. Because you're not required to take them anymore.
Yeah.
You can take anything you want. You just need a Warlord. So you're required to take one character. That's it.
So. Yeah, so. He had a lot of infantry for a Tau list.
Right.
Because he had. And then he had 2 piranhas as well. 2 of the little scout tanks.
Okay.
Scout vehicles. It's sad when the Tau player has more models than the Orc player.
Yes. Actually, obviously I was doing Raven Guard. I think the Tau and I were same number of models just about. Because I had a good number of vehicles in mind.
I mean, most of my army are vehicles.
Now, also, I should say, I don't know what's up with the stats from, like, the competitive games. I don't know if, like, maybe my local meta is just, like, that casual. But we had, so we only ended up doing 2 rounds. We only had enough time for 2 rounds. We had an Orc player, a new guy to the group. We don't actually currently know his history of how much he's played Warhammer, but he came in with Orcs, 99 and 99. Max points, both games.
Nice.
He completely dominated. He currently is still undefeated. He's faced like half of us, and none of us have been able. Which is actually kind of funny because we had a similar thing with a Necron player when 9th edition came out. we had a big bad player that just couldn't be touched for like 3-4 months.
I will say the score ended up being 79-34.
Okay.
In the Orcs' favor.
Yep.
Because the primary was take the middle.
Uh-huh.
And I was on the middle, turn 1.
This is exactly why I keep saying when the Vanguard detachment comes up, that's not a good detachment, because it keeps you from getting into the midfield, or incentivizes you to not get in the midfield. which you need to be in the midfield. You need to control that midfield. You need to get, I mean, whether you get there first or second, it doesn't matter, but like you needed to get there and be able to hold it.
And it didn't help that, you know what ended up eating through both units of Kroot?
Yeah, you mentioned Mega Knobs, right?
The Mega Knobs.
Yeah.
Because the Mega Mobs was just sitting on the middle objective after the Hammerhead blew up their truck.
Yep. This is something that frustrates the crap out of me when it comes to orcs. It's like the worst thing you can do is kill their vehicle. It gets worse for you after the vehicle dies.
Yeah.
Because then the guys get out, and the guys are worse than the vehicle. Which is kind of funky. It's kind of weird. For the life of me, I cannot get this thing to stick. Also, Plasma, that Battlesuit Tower Army was so frustrating. I'm not jiggling every single thing at a 4-up. So while they couldn't kill much of my guys, because most of my guys were pretty heavy Space Marines, I wasn't killing anything of theirs either. It was a slog. No one was having fun that game.
The funny thing is, a truck survived not 1, but 2 hits from the railgun on the Hammerhead.
Yeah, they really pulled back on the Hammerhead compared to what it was last edition. It's last edition, Hammerhead, it had rules that said it could ignore invulnerable saves, which is basically our throwaway term for anything kind of like a force field that would just absorb any type of damage. What it does is, here's how saves work. So you have like your armor save, and it's like, let's say Space Marine is like a 3-up. So when you're about to take damage, you roll a die for your armor, and if it's a 3 or higher, the armor takes the hit and you don't. You ignore the damage. Now, all weapons have a thing called AP, armor penetration. Could be 0, so there's no armor penetration, but if there's a number there, like a -1, -2, that's how much you raise your armor save. So if it's like a -2, your 3-up is now 5-up. So now your armor can only take it if you roll 5 or higher. An invuln save is, let's say a Terminator, they have a 2-up armor save, but they have a 4-up invuln. So what that means is if they get hit by a weapon, say -3, they don't go to -5. They stop at -4. They stop at a 4-up because invuln save doesn't get moved. You can't over penetrate an invuln save. That's the whole point of it. So like it's saying that your armor save can only get this bad. -4, -5, -6. You pretty much never see a -3 because we had -3s back in 8th, or not -3, 3-up invuln.
I think there was one 3-up.
There was like one 3-up, but they were like kind of common in 8th edition, and it was like disgusting. There was actually a 2-up. It was a Drukhari Archon had a special shield that it was a 2-up until it failed. So you had a 1 in 6 chance of getting through his shield, and then once it went through, it was gone. But that guy would take so much nonsense.
And Macaulay too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I just never faced it. I faced an Archon a bunch because I have a local Drukhari player, so I had to deal with. I had that Archon run flat run into a Contemptor Dreadnought with las cannons and it was a bunch of las cannons and missiles, and he just said nope. It was like enough firepower to take out a Land Raider at the time, and it just like did not care because 2-up invuln. So anyway, the Hammerhead had an ability where it ignored invuln saves, and it did a ton of mortal wounds in addition to its already really high damage, which mortal wounds also go right through an invuln save, and you don't take saves against unless you have something like a Feel No Pain or a special Feel No Pain specific to mortal wounds, one or the other. Feel No Pain is when you take damage. For each point of damage, you roll a die, and if you meet the amount, you ignore that point of damage. And then there's one that's specifically for mortal wounds, which is saying you can do against mortal wounds, but not normal firepower, basically. So it would do, what was the old profile? It was like 1d6 plus 3 mortal wounds, something insane like that. So it would one-shot like almost any vehicle in the game consistently, and there was nothing you could do about it. because they ignored even influence saves. They already had like -4 AP, which means your 2-up's a 6-up, and everything else just gets their armor saves ignored because you can't roll a 7 or higher. It's a 6-sided die. So like -4 is usually the end-all be-all of AP. You occasionally say -5, but it's at that point it's usually wasted because ironically, most things you would aim a -5 weapon at have an invuln save. So unless it's like another big vehicle. So those guns become almost like specifically just anti-vehicle because they're the only thing you would actually aim them at because most vehicles don't have an invuln save. Most. Not knights usually do, but knights are kind of a whole different category because I mean yes, they're vehicles, but they're also the entire army. It's just knights. So like my I have a tank destroyer that has like a neg. Actually no, that cannon only has like -3. I keep thinking it has like a -5 because it usually nukes everything it touches. But actually that thing only has a -3 on it. What do I have? I had something that had a -5.
No idea.
Yeah, I don't know. What Space Marines used to have that had a -5 AP? I don't know.
I don't know, yo.
I know there was like other like bigger Forge World tanks, like the Volcano Cannon, for example, on Fellhammers that have or Fellblades. Is it Fellblade or Fellhammer? I don't remember. I think it's Fellblade.
I'm not sure. I don't know the big tanks that well. I know.
Heretic.
But I do know. This isn't 40k. This is heresy. I mean, not heresy. This is it is heresy. But
Yeah, it's 30k.
no, I was actually talking fantasy.
Oh, even more
But it's
heresy.
But it's chaos I was talking about. So
Oh, fair enough.
yeah. So it is still heresy, just not what you're thinking. But I remember back in old fantasy.
Okay, so pre-Age of Sigmar, basically?
Pre-Age of Sigmar, yep.
Okay, this is like 2016 and before, basically.
There was a model you had to get a -4 modifier on for the armor save before it failed on a 2. It had the equivalent of a -1 up save, which was a thing for fantasy.
That's gross.
Yeah, it is gross. And also I think this.
Well, you know why that is? Because it's fantasy. They actually, the logic actually kind of makes sense. So, like,
Yeah.
alright, in fantasy, right? You have, like,
Like,
swords and arrows, right? But swords and
Yeah.
arrows don't really have any armor penetration whatsoever. Even by 40k standards of armor, a lasgun does actually have armor penetration as we would basically define armor penetration. It will go through a lot of different kinds of armor to an extent. But in the grand scale of 40k, every single weapon is armor penetration, so nothing actually has an armor value that negates wholesale any other type of weapon if it tries to hit it. Or of a type of weapon that tries to hit it. Like, any weapon you hit anything with will go through a little bit of armor.
Mm-hmm. But this was like a chaos load with magic armor on a juggernaut of cold.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. Why that would require armor penetration to do any damage whatsoever.
Yeah,
Like that. It's like the realistically fighting a Iron Goblin or Iron Golem. It's like yeah, no, you're screwed. Nothing you do is going to do anything to that. That's a non-fight is what we call that. That's a Scalagrim had a great video on that, how like Iron Golems are just like hilarious. Most of D&D actually only makes sense if you're using magic weapons, really.
Oh, trust me, I know. We had a very.
I can start the tangent on my first session with this new group.
Oh, the reason you
Anytime.
messaged me today? Nah, you're not allowed to talk about that.
No, I was mostly just saying. I sent another message in between that didn't end up sending. So I was using my phone where I said I'm just chilling all day, so I'm bored as fuck.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, it's
I
just.
mean, I got shit to talk about too. So it's not like I'll just be sitting here silently.
My thing was...
you start talking about Warhammer shit, and I'm just like, yeah, I get you, bro.
My thing was... Well, I mean, that's me when you guys start talking Magic, so... It's like, I know how to play the game. I don't know anything else. That's it. I know how the game mechanics work, and that is it. That is all. I don't know anything besides it. So, but, I was trying to work, like, programming stuff, but it's just, I kept getting distracted by Discord, and I was like, you know what? I can't have the focus. I may as well do something productive with the focus my mind is allowing me, which is apparently talking politics. So I guess I'll do that. Screw it. I'll just get on cam, because at least me yelling on cam about politics. Oh, I dropped that M&M. I don't even know where I went. At least that theoretically is moving me somewhere as an adult. In theory. Okay. So D&D. Go.
Alright, so I got a new commission group for a long-term campaign, and it's 5 players. They were a group that has been playing D&D together for forever, and just none of them want to DM anymore. That's as simple as it is. None of them
So,
want
like,
to DM anymore.
the most
But
basic...
they all want to play still.
The most basic reasoning as to why pro DMs exist. Yes.
Yes.
Which is why I
And-
always argue that pro DMs should be a thing. Just
And
because
so-
I've been in so many of those like discussions on Facebook.
Mhm.
Anyway, go on.
And so, where was I?
Oh,
and so
got a
they
new
already
group.
knew each other.
Yep.
And so the camaraderie was already there, you know?
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. But this is the first group ever that, like, my sense of humor can get pretty fucked up, right? Like, I can find some pretty stupid shit funny.
Stupid,
This is the first
yes.
group I've
Dark,
ever- this is
I've
the
got you
first
beat.
group I've ever hung out with where they were, like, talking about shit that was making me slightly uncomfortable.
In like dumb
So I
or
was
dark?
like, okay, this group's gonna be fine. They're gonna be completely fine with my level of jokes and shit, you know?
In like a dumb level or a dark level?
Dumb level.
Oh, okay.
You know, just like referring to shit that some people would find offensive, but they don't care, you know? That kind of level. But
Okay. So
the campaign is set in one of my main places. It's like the continent where all the humans and elves and genasi are on, right? And it's like, oh, the land is magically innate. That's why all these magical races come from here.
It's a civilized continent, basically.
Yeah. It's like the number one like governmental powerhouse in the world. Like they're the top of the charts.
Right.
And so there's this other place in my game, like I have a really, really homebrew thing. Whenever you're summoning a familiar, summoning anything that could be considered undead, like a ghost, a spirit, a zombie, a skeleton,
Yep.
like summoning one, not making one out of a thing, not making one out of things.
Yeah,
around
you're working
spells that
off like...
summon them like out of nowhere.
Yeah,
you know,
like the Elder Scrolls
skeleton.
4
Yeah.
logic, basically, as opposed to, like, say, Skyrim, where you actually need
Yeah,
the body.
and anytime you would summon a demon by any means,
Yep.
they all come from this one place in my world called Northfestian, which
Okay.
is like its own area. It's like no mortals know it exists, and if they try to go there, they just pass through it, and it's just like giant open water. They don't even realize it's there. Like they can't have access to it. Yada yada.
Yeah, like, no,
It's
like the
3 ways
dark,
between these places. So you have like
it's like the dark
familiars
matter
area.
of D&D. It's like the dark matter, dark energy. It's like, we know it's there because of the effect it has in their stuff, but we can't actually observe it directly.
Yeah. Well, no, they don't. Not even that. Like, well, they could if they were at that level of advancement, but they simply aren't. You know.
Oh, so where do they think all the stuff they're summoning is coming from?
They assume it comes from other planes and stuff, right? They assume it comes from somewhere, but they
Yeah,
don't know
so it's
where.
like
They don't
dark
know that
energy.
they're all come from the same place either.
Yeah,
And
well,
it's like split 3 ways, where the Northfestian is like the undead area is like a giant Las Vegas strip where it's constantly covered in smog from all of them smoking. There are no rules because what the fuck are you gonna do to punish them? They're all dead anyways. Everyone cheats, everyone steals, everyone lies. It's just like that permanently, and it's just a bunch of zombies, skeletons, and ghosts walking around, all with that shit. The demon area is like dark citadel, hardcore heavy metal music type vibe. And then the familiars area is like the very regal spirits who believe they're above everyone else, like animal spirits who take over that area. And the undead and the demons are very easy to make enemies for, but what do I do for the familiars? And that's where I made a fully custom thing for this familiar. It's designed so it could also be a player race and like thing if they wanted it to be.
I feel like you mentioned something about that
to me. Familiar
before.
works when it's not summoned, but it comes from its original place. Like if you're in Northfestian, you kill familiar, it fucking dies. It doesn't unsummon somewhere. No, it is dead. It is a familiar's like spirit that you summon, right? Like every time you summon familiar, you're summoning the exact same spirit every time. It just takes a different form every time it goes 0 and unsummon, right?
Okay.
So how I do it for these guys is they take the animal forms that they can typically take. If they're like a base level 1, they can transform between the different forms as an action. And if you deal enough damage to kill whatever form they're in, like a hawk or something, then they die. But if they're a higher level, like a stronger, the stronger you get with the familiars, the more transformations they have. So it's kind of like doing the HP to a polymorph, and then they unpolymorph, and the damage carries over. It's like they have 3 HP bars. Like a slightly higher level familiar would be like they have like a bear form that they use, and then after the bear form is like a hawk form, and then after the hawk form is like a snake form, and you got to kill the HP of all 3 of those before they officially die. And whenever one of them is gone, they cannot use that transformation again until they long rest. Right, so they gain HP.
But I'd imagine
like
the
levels of transforming an animal.
I'd imagine like the total HP of all the bars is still like equivalent to like other classes. Yeah,
it would be equivalent. It's just they're like constantly shifting as they're going throughout it.
And I'm sure based on which transformations you pick, you can cater more towards like rogue health bar or like barbarian health bar.
Yeah. Most of the time, I would say that if you're gonna do that and make a player class out of it, you should be a full spellcaster, because that makes the most sense to be viable. Like you're a magical animal that can cast spells and shit, you know?
I mean, the mobility alone, it's like...
The only time you can play that race, the only time it is playable, is when we're doing like Northfestian specific one-shots where everybody's playing shit like that, you know? Otherwise, it's just not super balanced for all the other races.
Right.
Like the ability to just action transform all the time is crazy. Even if it's very limited. But so that's kind of
it's like
stuff you need to know for this. So what
extra
the actual
souped up
campaign,
druid, really.
Yeah, so what the actual campaign like plot is looking at
Mm-hmm.
is there's this guy who was born in Northfestian, who's like an amalgamation of all 3. He's a 3-headed chimera who has a head of an undead, one head that's undead, one head that's a familiar, and one head that's a demon. So he's got like high level abilities of all 3 of those. So imagine something that has like 10 different transformations all the way up from a dragon to a mouse that you have to kill all their HP bars from. They know high level demon spells and like hellfire magic. And every single time you drop one of them to 0 HP, their undead fortitude kicks in.
Oof.
Yeah, so he's like some crazy ultra-powered guy. And so he's trying to like form like this sect of familiars and demons and undead who are all working together, who think that the leaders of Northfestian are limiting their power. They think they can take over the overworld if they let them. But the leaders of Northfestian are the reason why summoning contracts exist and why they get summoned to the other place and you cannot go there otherwise. And then mortals cannot come here for any reason, right? They think that those rules are holding us back. We should be able to just fucking steamroll these fuckers if we wanted to. So they're like kind of like a terrorist organization forming of all 3 of the groups coming together. And their first mission was they wanted to build their numbers. And the party just happened to be located in a town where they sent a sect of like familiars out to try to kidnap a bunch of like domesticated animals so that they can turn them into familiar souls and make them join their army. Like wipe their memory, turn them into familiar souls if they were born in that land, you know?
Okay.
To just kind of build their army. And thankfully, like half the party members had, if not an animal companion, like a specific pet, right, that they had as part of their character. And so all I had to do to get them all to work together to face this thing was just steal their animals. And all of them were like, oh, hell no! You ain't doing that! No fucking shot! So since they were all advanced players, I figured let's do the most difficult starting method, which has a lot of weight on the players and the DM, where nobody knows each other. We're starting. You all happen to be in the same town, but you have absolutely no pre-written reason to be working together. That reason is going to be developed through gameplay, you know, and it worked really, really well.
Cool. Give me like
That being
30
said, I had to keep
seconds.
moving them forwards because they would just keep
I gotta run to the
stopping on
bathroom.
tangents of stupid shit.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, dude, I did that once. I said I have to answer my door real quick, just continue to RP while I'm gone. And then when I came back, I heard one of them was rolling a saving throw, and I'm like, oh god, what happened? What happened? Why are we rolling saving throws? I was gone for 30 seconds. What are you doing? It was a pretty fun session. They're probably the most like advanced role players I've played with, you know, as a full group. Like all of them, I'm not having to push things ahead. I don't have to describe scenes further because I know it'll just be silent, or I'll have to ask them to explain what it looks like. No, they just do that. I love that. You know how hard it is. Even all my normal players, it's like I still have to ask them to explain shit. So I get into this habit of just explaining it for them a lot of the time because they don't do it. That doesn't happen with this group. Yeah, they got their animals back, all except for one. And so they're like putting together, they just put together like the group, and they all traveled out to where they were being taken and found like this stronghold area where this little ripple portal is opened up, where they're like gathering forces to take the animals in. But they can't take them in through that portal because it's just a little ripple. How it worked is when this guy opened up some portals in from Northestion into Crescentia, is because Crescentia is innately magical, he found like a backdoor into Crescentia, essentially, from Northestion. And so he's using that backdoor. It opened up 5 primary node giant portals within Crescentia. Those portals, anybody can go in and out of them. But each of those portals opened up a bunch of little ripples all around them, where only Northestion stuff can come in and out. So they found one of those, and there was like 100 or something for like super low level familiars. Granted, each of them have anywhere from 1 to like 5 HP, but still it's like 100 of them. So last combat they had with them, it was like a bunch of them were like wolves that were running towards, jumped into the air, transferred into hawks, flied really high up, and then transformed into poisonous snakes and fell down on fell onto the party like some kind of fucked up poisonous snake mortars. It's just like, no, get down, the fiery poisonous snakes! And it wasn't like typical normal damage poison, it was like paralyzed poison too. It's gonna be a fun campaign, I can tell so far. Definitely the kind of group where I can just tell them, where I can just sit them in a random town and I don't have to do anything. Sit them in the town, get them to start role-playing together, and they will write the entire session for me if I let them. Hello?
Hello.
Okay, you guys are still here. I was like, I'm fucking
Yep.
awkwardly silent. As both those leave while I was on the tangent, I just get kicked. Didn't realize.
I'm just chilling.
Mhm. You there? Are you there, Table? I don't
Tab-
think he's there.
No, I don't. I think, yeah, table is on the BLB screen.
Ah. Well, I gotta go to the grocery store. So, see you later if you're still live when I'm back. Alrighty, see you.
Yep, see ya.
Oh man. Venom's calling you outside. Hello? People still here? Everyone leave? Everyone's gone? Oh, Zophiana's gone too. Gotta go to the grocery store, and Zophiana, I don't know, disappeared somewhere. So, Venom, looks like it's you and me, and, I don't know, Rest of chat's quiet. You don't count. I leave all the noise. I come back. Alright. Ironically, I was gonna be like, great. Sai's talking about the campaign. I'm gonna throw my mask on and do a bunch of airbrushing. Ah, fair enough, Adam. Where's, speaking of which, where's my mask? Oh, before you leave, thoughts on new, Space Marine stuff, now that Auspex has showed us basically the entire, codex. I don't know why I was waiting on it. I got 15 minutes? Yeah. That's basically most of the time we're gonna have a mask on. I mean, I'll try to talk here and there, but it ain't great. I'm still saying the Firestorm Assault Force is the best one. This guy's supposed to still have his sword. You know, I'll make it look like it broke. I'll be fine. I made some approximation. Can figure out the gray as white scheme. Yet still working on that. Am I gonna be doing any white on these guys? I don't know. If I had more like time/energy, I know it's like hard to describe the way my work schedule works right now, but making a new white tutorial wouldn't be the worst, since I don't actually super recommend the white scar one unless you're painting white scars. I think the other way I paint it now is better, but I haven't made a tutorial for it yet. It's kind of like in basic, you take like Celestial Gray, right? Which is like a bluish gray. My camera's really struggling today. Use that as your base coat, and it'll be pretty gray, pretty bluish gray. And I use the same white, the same shader I used in my White Scars tutorial. To shade all the recesses, and then, like, really carefully, and then I start progressively blending upward of using, like, what I'll be starting to use, because I'm so sick of the other 4X weight. I'm sick of that. Probably this Pro White Blue I'm gonna try out next time I do white. And then just working my way up to an actual white, which is probably going to be bold titanium white from Pro Krill going forward, or Army Painter matte white, one or the other. Yeah, like there's a bunch of different ways of doing white, that's the thing. The white blue? Yeah, yeah, I would still say the white blue is probably like your in-between layer, basically, to transfer from going from the recess shade to the white. Where's hold on. I wanna say, or actually this is probably a better example. That's more or less how it comes out. This camera does not do the best. You'll be able to see it better when I take pictures. This camera really struggles on the white, to be honest. Sometimes I think of going back to using my phone. I'm just tired of having to hook up my phone every single stream. It's honestly been really nice to just focus on, like, say, naming the stream and starting, and not setting up half my cameras like every single time. So yeah, that's a thing.
Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. When you feel it's hopeless, when you think that you lost, oh, I will take your hand and we'll rise up from the dust. Oh, here we go, 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 let us heal and grow. You won't be alone, we're unstoppable. Don't be afraid to show what we're going for. This is what we know.
I need Diablo to come back so I can explain the Raven Guard stuff while it's on my mind. He was messaging me earlier about, like, oh yeah, so, like, did you know that the strike in the new codex can, like, deep strike Centurions? And I'm like, I think that's how that works. He actually has not changed, except he got the Phobos keyword, and he can lead the assault, the new jump pack assault intercessors. At least I'm pretty certain on that one. Hold on, let me double check. Yeah, you can lead assault intercessors with jump packs and Vanguard veteran squad with jump packs. Besides that, he has not actually changed, except for our Phobos keyword being attached. He's the same as he was in the index otherwise. He's gotten cheaper. He's down to 100 points right now, I believe. Yeah, right, exactly. But yeah, what the mistake was actually there's a Vanguard Spearhead stratagem enhancement called the Blade Driven Deep. 25 points, infantry model only, and the bear's units gain infiltrate, which nothing can pair up with assault centurions anyway, and its enhancements you can't put on strike anyway, and it's Vanguard attachment, which isn't good anyway, so
Here we stand, open arms. This is home where we are, ever strong in the world that we made.
You know, I'm gonna be honest, because I've thought about this a few times. If Warhammer battle maps were 4 times the size, and you could have way more turns, then Raven Guard would actually consistently be among the best armies in the game, pretty much no matter what rules they gave. Because that actually allows you to do like hit and run and deep strike, or hit and run and guerrilla warfare. You can't do that with the current map sizes or game lengths. There is no hit them, run away until they can't hit you back, and then run back at them and hit them again and then run away. There's not enough room, there's not enough time. So guerrilla warfare is never truly an option in normal 40k matches. Yeah, it's crowded, right? Especially if you're facing a horde army. And all the non-horde armies have a range that doesn't matter anyway. It does not. When your average gun is already half of the range of the entire battlefield, then yeah, it doesn't. There's no guerrilla warfare. It's not guerrilla warfare. So yeah, it is. You'll run into their face. You'll hold the middle ground. That's everything. Especially because the objectives are always like the big main objectives you need are always in the middle of the map between the 2 armies. It's never like you show up and one army has a bunch of just resources sitting around that you have to mess with. You see that in Crusade, but not in like normal matches. So yeah, it's a completely different. It does not behoove guerrilla fighters like it, or even skirmishers. Even skirmishers as a topic is a very niche part of 40k strategy.
Watching seasons change, our roads were lined with adventure, mountains in the way.
Like if you look at because this popped in mind. If you look at like Command and Conquer for like a real-time strategy, or like the one that came to mind for me was the Battle for Westnoth turn-based strategy game. Both those games have really big maps that you can have battles in. Or StarCraft even, although I've not really seen people do a lot of this. But like, Command & Conquer and Battle for Westnoth, skirmishers can be extremely good because you have really, really big maps where speed is like a really big deal. If you have things that are really fast, you can do a lot of damage because stuff is like, it's hard to respond to. It's not a thing in 40k. Like, there's no version of you getting entirely outside of artillery. Any artillery on that map is basically point blank with you by artillery standards. Oh jeez, or like, what's the name of that game? It's not like the best RTS ever, but actually it does artillery great, where artillery is absolutely broken. It's like Planetary Annihilation Titans or something like that. It's like this goofy, like, robot turn-based, or a real-time strategy that I remember I used to play a lot of back in like 2014, 2015. Always play RTS Modern. Yeah, I mean, me too, because it gives you way more options. It allows you to have bigger armies if you want to go for big size. But there were like 3 levels of Steam's giving me a hard time here. 3 levels of artillery, and the game maps could be 1 or more of these planets where you could drive all the way around a planet's globe in like maybe like 3 minutes. So the largest artillery pieces in that game, which is not that hard to get to, they would have so much range that you would only need 3 layers of them from max range to max range to cover one entire globe. So like, and all you'd do was destroy your enemy commander's bots. So if it stayed on the first planet, if I don't think that they left the planet yet, I would just speed my way to unlocking the largest artillery and then just bombard randomly their base from behind a bunch of defensive turrets with these giant artillery pieces. until I saw the explosion of the commander, and then I would win. What is the name of it? I'm trying to find it in my Steam library. It's like a funny. It says like a fun game. It's not, like I said, it's not the best game ever, but it's kind of fun when you want to just do generic real-time strategy. Where is this? Why can't I find this? There it is. Yeah, Planetary Annihilation Titans. It's last time I played it was in 2017, apparently. Is this game still active? Do people still play this? I never played it multiplayer, to be fair. I just played a bunch of... I just played against bots, but yeah. I'm playing Civ 5 again, don't mind generic, yeah. I mean, if you're feeling like an RTS and don't want to dig up a Command & Conquer, Planetary Annihilation Titans ain't too bad for pretty cheap. It was not an expensive game. Was this on the store page? Is it really $30? Really? Oh, never mind. I remember it being a lot cheaper. Maybe I just got it on sale or something. I don't know. It was a long time ago. Oh yeah, I'll catch you later then. I have no idea how long I'm streaming. Probably just until I get tired and going to play Baldur's Gate. I know my original Steam has dropped a little bit, so I don't know. We'll just go until it doesn't make sense to keep going. So because I gotta do this airbrushing, I gotta do a mask. I'm just gonna focus for a little while on just popping this out. So if you're watching, just enjoy the music. I will be reading chat, but you know.
Memories like this never end. No, they don't fade away. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, and I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun. Close to the sun. Here's to the ones who let shine through the rain, the ones who stood for something more. We won't forget your names. The tide is high, say goodbye, we're setting sail, and all those midnight secrets told, we'll take them to the grave. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, and I'll be
I was not paying attention when I prepped the airbrush, so this is in fact super thin. Fortunately, this is just primer, so my camera center probably turn this. So we don't necessarily need it to get opaque. We can have another pass of like normal white paint for that. But just for people that are not super familiar with airbrush priming, this is definitely way too thin. Well, because it's primer, it's not the biggest deal.
So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, keep holding island, floating in the sky. I'm high above the world I used to know, and I'm far from any danger, safe from any failure. Guarded, I found shelter in the storm. I'm hiding in the blue, safe between the clouds.
Oh, and I do want to remind everyone that is watching, all the chat does go to the same place, so no matter what platform you're watching me on right now, I'm on 4 different platforms currently, your chat will get to me. I will see your chat, and it will pop up on the screen as well, so if you're watching on Rumble, chat works. It's there. Also, I'm sure there are people that might be a little confused because they may have come in seeing the title and then are watching the airbrush. So the normal format for this is that I talk about whatever with people when possible. About, let me turn music down a little bit. About whatever, with the title usually being whatever topics are currently on my mind. And that often includes politics, or nerd stuff like Warhammer. And today on my mind was a lot of politics stuff. So if you notice in the title, it says Warhammer Painting Politics. They're the most consistent topics. That's why I see it like this.
Between the clouds in the blue, where I can't be found, I'm hiding in the blue.
Don't wanna say it, but I love it when you hurt me. Don't ever change it, cause I love it when you hurt me. Don't think I'd make it if you ever did desert me. I know I shouldn't, but I love it when you hurt me. I think about it all day, even when I'm sleeping. It's been a long time, but you always got me feeling. I'm like an animal and you know how to turn me. Don't wanna say it, but I love it when you hurt me. Love, 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 need your love, 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 need your love, 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 need your love, 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 need your love, 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 need your love, need your love, need your love, need your love.
Okay.
Save me. I'm running out of air.
So,
Calling
priming
up
done.
Mayday.
And I'm not gonna base coat these or anything with white, because the only reason I was doing white was because it's the closest primer I have to the cream ivory looking color that I'm using for those big rocks. So just to make things easier, I have it in white. As it's easier
It's so dark, it's so dark out
to
here.
darken a white undercoat than it is to lighten from a dark undercoat. Like a dark undercoat will always be there. You can get opaque enough that light undercoat doesn't matter.
The void between you and me. And I feel like I'm going insane.
I mean, you can with dark undercoats too, the light. It's just great. Because light colors, because acrylic paints are all translucent on some level, even if it's very little. White color, lighter colors, the closer you get to white, the more translucent, or the more the effect of translucency becomes relevant, is the problem. In addition to just because of the chemical composition of how we make whites, usually the closer to white you get, white, not light, but white specifically, usually the worse that paint is as a paint. It becomes really annoying to work with because it takes a lot of very, very thin coats to get anywhere. So anyone that's done a fair bit of miniature painting will tell you painting white is the worst color to paint. You're not wrong. There's techniques to make it a little easier, but there's no version of it not being annoying compared to other colors. That's just how it is. It's usually a case of trying to figure out techniques that make it as painless as possible.
Save me. I'm running out of air. I'm running out.
But yes, now that that's done,
I'm running out of air.
we can move on to brush painting for the most part. I thought about airbrushing the rocks because I'm going to be completely covering the bases. And you know, if I wasn't streaming, I probably would do it that way because it'd be the most time efficient, but I'm fine with taking a little extra time.
Suddenly you're nowhere to be found. I turn around and everything has changed.
Probably stuff going on with dinner. Yeah, whatever.
Looking for a way to work it out. I'm trying to find some peace to navigate. The oak tree.
That's good.
where I met you, and the writing on the statue. I still remember
So yeah, if I wasn't streaming, I probably would do it that way, but I don't feel like messing with the airbrush more while also keeping you guys in relative silence.
I'll meet again. We'll meet again. Everything we wanted turned to gold. The path we chose, the future on our side.
so the plan is for painting before I move back on to other topics. Oh, I'm just sticking into frame. Alright, so we have... Well, I gotta get this back to where this is. Just kind of naturally pointing at what I'm doing. Where do I have you? There, I think? Yeah, it needs to be forward more. I think if I just tilt it downward. Yeah, it's actually perfect. Cool. Okay. So anyway, so we got this guy. This is our cultist template going forward. These kind of colors, which I will be doing the rest of them with. And yeah, towards the end, I'm going to be dry brushing everything with the gray dust that I'm going to be having as the actual land, the actual dirt, the earth that they'll be on. So everything will be brightened a little bit for the most part. So it will not necessarily remain as dark in palette as it looks. I'm going to begin with the rocks while I try to remember what the palettes, or what the colors I used with the dudes were. I mean, some of them are obvious. Caliban green and crude green for greens, obviously. It's more like the leathers and stuff. I think that was just Mournfang brown with Vestigore flesh highlighting, and then a bunch of Agrax and Null Oil. Something like that. But yeah, the rocks will do first, because those are simple. That's just Pearl Ivory followed by Agrax Earthshade. Then dry brushed with a bunch of stuff. So, back to like the more serious topics, unless someone wants to jump in the chat and divert me somewhere else entirely. But, for the moment, yeah, my general stance on Israel in the last like 4 days is I'm gonna have to side a little bit more with Israel on this one. Not a lot more, but a little bit more. I think regardless of what Israel has done in the past, I don't think any past grievances ever give you the moral high ground to do what would other be considered grievous war crimes. Even if you're not necessarily a technical, playing at technicals. No, if you're not technically a military, I don't think that's a valid defense either. I think we should be holding any military or pseudo-military engagement to the same kinds of standards. And that means that what Hamas is doing out there is rather disgusting, honestly. In a similar vein, also a lot of the Russian tactics. The constant targeting of civilian infrastructure as opposed to the plenty of perfectly valid military targets is a problem. And has only served to do the opposite of what I think their hopes were, which is the Ukrainians have only become more determined to see the city end and fight it out until Russia breaks. I think this is basically Russia and Afghanistan 2.0. The worse, way worse. Man, it's gonna be fun with the camera. The camera really doesn't like the bright colors. think I have a lens. I mean, by I could have most of the painting done in the time it would take me to figure out the lens crap that I have that might help this in this case. The really tricky business is how to move forward with it, with the Israel situation, considering the complexity of what is happening there on every level. Though I think a lot of people trying to go super far back on their claims is not actually helping anything, because then you have to ask, okay, how many years back does something stay relevant? or how long does something in the past remain relevant today? And this goes for both sides, honestly. I think what's also not helping is that there's not a whole lot of consensus on either side as to what each side actually wants, is also the problem. There's so many different versions as to what each side wants, so it's really hard to get anything useful out of there to figure out where the middle ground might be. Also doesn't help that I'm not super in-depth educated on that particular area of the world. At least not modern, or even semi-modern times. You know what this paint reminds me of? Butter pecan ice cream. I'm fairly new to this paint, and this paint reminds me of butter pecan ice cream. That's now a thing that's stuck in my head.
Come and fly away with me. 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 by the Emerald Sea, where the moon and water meet. Somewhere close to
Alright, here's something I suppose is on my mind regarding all of this. If the people that are generally opposed to using American taxpayer dollars on basically any type of international activity, more or less, and you get all that money back, all what would that be? Something probably around a third of a we suppose it might be closer to $500 billion at this point, Mark. Between defense spending that is specifically utilized for out there and also the foreign aid programs we have. Which all in all I think is, I mean, what would that be? Half of a, it'd be like a twelfth of our budget, maybe, if that. Probably not even that we use in regard to all that. Or say you want to drop the military spending down, what would you be using the money on in that case? Like what or I suppose not, if I don't know if anyone actually watching is in that camp, but I suppose I'm wondering, in that camp, people in that camp, how is that money being used? Exactly. Otherwise, because yeah, the fact of the matter is still we spend like so much more already domestically, and we still have all these problems. Are they actually problems that more money is going to solve? And I suppose there's always the argument, well, I mean, we shouldn't be taxed that much. Which I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess that's reasonable, except now the question is, how are we going to secure the safety of Americans and American business ventures abroad? And do we just not care about that? Okay, well then we gotta go back to like where we're getting the other like 40% of our energy production from. Because in theory, a lot of the oil from the Middle East is going to almost immediately end up this giant flashpoint of uncertainty of the reliability of the trade routes, and then people actually doing things in the trade routes. I mean, it's been done before, so you can't. The argument cannot be made that, you know, people would just leave it be if we weren't involved. No, I mean, even when we had the ability to be involved, people were trying to mess with it. Again, the Operation Praying Mantis situation, where we took out half of Iran's navy, was from exactly such a situation. Iran started mining the Gulf, and it was blowing up Kuwaiti tankers, and then it blew up one of our naval vessels. Actually, it blew up one of our Navy vessels when we sent a vessel in to figure out what was even going on. It's like, well, we can't let that keep going. And then it's like, okay, well, if we're not spending the money over there, you want it back in people's pockets, but then the gas prices are all going to go up dramatically. Are you actually certain you're going to end up with more money in your pocket from not paying taxes, but you're now paying at the pump? Are you certain that math is going to work out in your favor? Because I'm not entirely certain, we're certain that the amount that the price would increase will be small. And also, I get the sentiment. I was libertarian or ANCAP most of my life. And I think idealistically, I still would probably prefer that kind of scenario if it was realistic, but it's simply not, at least not until we get to like post-scarcity, which we are not at. Man, wow, Mika's going out today. And I know there's some people that think historical materialism is just brain rot, but I mean, here's the thing. Yes, people make non-resource based decisions, but guess what stops every decision in its track if it gets bad enough? Resources. The material of the matter. You can make non-resource decisions and get away with it until there are no resources left. That's just how it is. You're not gonna magically keep going as either a society or a human without certain resources, because people start dying. And hungry people aren't good at doing stuff. That's what ends armies and empires both constantly, is because the resources start going poorly. It's because the French Revolution, the Bolshevik Revolution, ended Napoleon's invasion, ended Hitler's invasion of the Soviet Union, ended the Soviet Union, nearly ended the American Revolution several times. Army marches on its stomach. If you don't have any food, you don't have an army. If you don't have any money, you don't have an army. You gotta pay them. Unpaid soldiers end up being very temperamental. And are prone to do just other things. Because no matter how... what's the word? What's the word I want? There's a specific word I want, and I can't think of it now. Compelling. No matter how compelling your ideology is that you are running off of. Okay? Only so many people of a certain type of temperament are going to hold on and run on that when they are, like, literally falling to their knees out of, like, hunger and exhaustion. The average human will not keep going in those circumstances. They will do basically anything else as their animal instincts kick in and say, we gotta survive. So non-resource related historical decisions in, say, politics or economics or whatever only occur after a certain threshold of material stability is hit. I mean, I used to say it quite a bit, but you only get ethics after you're no longer starving. Or some reshuffling of those words. I used to say it actually a lot because, I don't know, it just kept coming up. Sorry, I'm getting tagged in Discord. I'll go through this later. Whatever. It's not immediately pertinent. I wonder if this is relevant to, like, why I felt my purity seals didn't look that good. This is, a fair bit closer to cream or butter. It's actually closer to Tyrant Skull, the dry paint, than the much whiter Pallid Witch Flesh that I would normally have used before I ran out as my base color. But you know what? Every rock in the squad is on that same palette, so maybe it'll be fine. But I think I am gonna try to work a little harder to be more purposeful as I add the shader. Yeah, it's still drying. I still see some light on this one. This one seems good. I suppose the other thing to consider is where one's balance of priorities are between the nation, the people, and the species. Like, how much do you care about people elsewhere? End of the day, I don't have a massive special attachment to the US in and of the US. I have an attachment to the ideals that it puts forward and the efficacy is so far had in putting those ideals into practice. Liberalism, if you will. And I'm gonna say liberalism and not democracy. Those are two separate things in reality. Anyway, if another country was doing it way better, actually, that's not even the correct direction to go with this. The main point that I'm trying to get at here right now is that I actually care quite a bit for, like, the global state of humanity, because it's all people. Those are still people over there. Chinese, those are people. That seems like such a basic concept, but I don't know if it's just because I've run into a lot of nationalists lately. But the the us and them situation outside of when one side is being belligerent is really, I find, counterproductive. As if neither side is being belligerent, then we're way better off focusing on working together. Because humans only get massively more capable of doing things that help everyone involved with the more people involved. If the system they are utilizing is actually a good one, I should say. Not to say that there can't be things that can complicate that. But yeah, the larger your population is, the more engineers you'll have in that population. The more scientists you'll have, the more technicians. The more productive temperament people. So more people good as a fundamental concept to work off of, then we should be trying to get as many people as possible together towards goals that help everyone. And yeah, I believe capitalism is a great way of doing that because you are directly incentivized to be solving a particular problem as effectively and efficiently as possible for as many people as possible, thus to convince them to relieve their hard-earned wealth in your direction because you are solving said problem. It also seems that the more we allow people to think freely, which I think you require freedom of speech to do so, the more easily we can come up with solutions to said problems. So we seem to be doing pretty good in that regard towards coming to problems for solutions that help everyone. The faster we come to set solutions to problems, the faster we get to the point of post-scarcity. Which I don't think is necessarily impossible outside of, say, my lifetime. I don't know if we're necessarily that far away from it in theory. We probably only need a couple more key technological breakthroughs. And then people just kind of get out of the way to implement it. That usually seems to be the harder part. Usually because geopolitics gets involved. I am thinking while I'm putting this on, some of the paint is coming off and entering the brush and lightening the shade. Just causing not as much of a sharp shade, so that's kind of a problem. So I guess I need to let that dry more. In some cases, it looks like I barely put any of the ivory on. Which actually, I guess, kind of brings it closer to the pallid witch flesh we had before. Nice, so people are losing their mind upstairs. I don't know what's up with that.
In a flash of light, my heart's convulsing. This feeling's right, vibrate.
Alright, I might actually have to go off and take a break till things cool down, because sometimes that's getting picked up by the mic, so that's a problem. Yeah, okay. That's a thing. Where are things out with viewers right now? It's kind of slow right now anyway. Alright, I might be back in a few hours. We'll see how it goes. I'll catch y'all later. Hope everyone has a great day one way or another. And yeah.
Electrify with you, electrify. Electrify